inside of me. You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me, and he gets claws real big, gets off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored. Lots of blood and gold, always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really innocent until they feel the force of party. And if you start shit, you'll be hard-lived in the darkness, torn apart quick. You left scars ripped, you'll be chewed up and discarded.
And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. When there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. When there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't
cocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's go ahead and turn on the cameras. Let's get right to it because we've got a really good little lineup for tonight. It's not going to be a long show tonight. I hope I can keep it in 2 hours. I hope. I try to do the peace sign for 2. It never turns out to be 2. It always turns out to be 3 or 4. Let's try to make it to 2. 2 is the magic number for tonight. 2 people are watching. There you go. And let's get right to it because I don't want to hesitate anymore. I want to get right to business with Jason A.
But there's script in the book of Revelation to bring about Armageddon and the end of the world. They're doing it intentionally.
Who is they?
I don't know who they are. I think they're Satanists. I think they're people that worship the dark force, that don't care for humanity and human life. And in fact, they're the total opposite of, they worship the devil.
So there's been a very, very interesting report released by an organization called the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which, as its name suggests, monitors the separation of church and state and attacks on it within the military. And it has had scores of complaints since this conflict began. One combat unit commander told the Federation that the foundation that non-commissioned officers at a briefing on Monday said that the Iran war is part of God's plan and that President Donald Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and return his and mark his return to Earth. And they've received scores of complaints from all over the military over the last several days that similar messages are being delivered. And take a listen to what Pete Hegseth said when he was asked on Monday what his prayer is for the troops.
First of all, my prayer for them is that I do pray for them. My wife prays for them. Our family prays for them. Our cabinet prays for them. None of this is done on a whim. Having been in their boots, having been in their shoes, having been in their flight suits, I know we think about them with every decision that we make and every recommendation that we make to the President of the United States. Those recommendations are made prayerfully. And when I pray every day for them and for this mission, I pray simply for the biblical wisdom to see what is right and the courage to do it.
We're already seeing attacks on civilian infrastructure, hospitals. In the future, you'll see attacks on water supply, on dams, on reservoirs.
Oh, the 15-minute paper ticket.
Power plants. The idea is to make it so inhabitable that the people will have to rebel against the people, or there'll be a refugee crisis in Iran. Okay? So as you can see from this map, this war, it is the end of the world. Okay? Both sides have the potential to destroy each other. It's really a question of how far do they want to go.
Paper psychic.
Right? We can also say this is almost a game of chicken. Okay?
Chicken. What the hell?
We can blow each other up.
Playing games.
How far do you want to go? And the problem is this. Problem is that the Iranians are Shia.
Here we go.
Which believes in martyrdom. And you killed the religious leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei. So they're willing to go very, very far. The GCC countries are Muslim, but they're materialistic. They love money. And also, most of the population are patriots, foreigners. Dubai are foreigners. Guess what's going to happen if they suffer? They'll run away.
Barely.
Okay? So this is not a fair matchup.
The Israeli military said it detected missiles launched from Iran, with defense systems working to intercept it.
Oh my God, oh my God. Himale. Oh my God. Yo, אני בהלם. Oh my God.
Angie, there's been plenty of talk Iran was using these controversial types of warheads, and last night we saw it in action on multiple videos flying across the skies towards central Israel. These cluster bombs, they break up and scatter upon descent, releasing around 20 or so smaller munitions that fall widely and indiscriminately, making it near impossible for the Iron Dome defences to lock on and intercept. Last night it caused fire and damage to residential homes, these bombs posing a greater risk to civilians. There are questions about how Iran obtained this technology. There are suggestions it may have come from Russia or China.
Hello.
Harris, good morning. We're learning some new details from the Israelis about a strike overnight that involved 50 fighter jets and 100 munitions targeting the bunker of Iran's former supreme leader. A senior Israeli official telling Fox News these strikes overnight went after the underground bunker that the Iranians spent years building, but they say whenever the Ayatollah was killed over the weekend, he didn't make it to the bunker. He was above ground. This is new information, but you see the power of these strikes here as they drop more than 100 munitions on this location to ensure the Iranians aren't able to use these facilities in the future. It comes as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is holding a new security assessment today with his top leadership here as the Israelis enter into the second phase of this war against Iran and its proxies. Overnight, the Iranians launching new ballistic missiles into Israel using a cluster munition to try and rain debris down on the population below. We saw as some of those missiles overshot their targets, slamming into the Mediterranean Sea. And the Israelis going after these launching positions, they say they destroyed another 6 ballistic missile launchers.
Now, it's not the first time that Iran has used this weapon in this conflict. The Israelis have said that they've been on the receiving end of this several times so far since the war started last weekend. It is a cluster munition. Of course, cluster munitions are banned under an international treaty, but only if the countries themselves are signed up to that convention, and neither Israel nor Iran have actually signed up to that cluster munition convention.
As far away as Cyprus, Iran triggers air raid sirens at a Royal Air Force base as the Brits send in reinforcements. Here, the RAF obliterating a drone over Jordan, but but on the ground, fleeing Iranians are defiant.
They cannot defeat Iran.
On Iranian TV, a senior cleric calls for President Trump's blood.
NBC Nightly News.
On US TV, Iran's foreign minister.
We are not asking for a ceasefire.
Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
This guy's an idiot.
No, we are waiting for them.
We're destroying more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour. Their Navy is gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well.
We are built for this fight, and we are in it to win it.
The Americans convinced Iran is running out of firepower.
Nah,
What else
they
do
ain't
you
running out
know?
of firepower. They got too much firepower. That's the problem.
I just, I think we're living in the worst possible times right now. That if we don't make some changes, there's going to be some major disasters about to happen, and it's man-made. It's not solar flare. It's not any of that. It's a dark force. Because she told me, well, I'll tell you what she told me. This is what I put in writing, part of it. She said, there are people in power. I put this in writing in 2012. She said, there are people in power. And I'm not going to say where she focused my thoughts on that, but they're scripting the book of Revelation to bring about Armageddon and the end of the world. They're doing it intentionally, and that's what she told me. And that's the very thing the main meat of the whole message I sent to these generals. So it makes sense, right?
Who is they?
I don't know who they are. I think they're Satanists.
They're aliens.
I think they're people that worship the dark force, that don't care for humanity and human
They're
life.
aliens. They don't care.
In fact, they're the total opposite of.
They infiltrated the Democrat Party.
They worship the devil, or I don't know if there is a devil. I think it's a very dark force that is living full of dark entities that feed on you parasitically, like they'd be non-physical. They shape shift. They take your mind over. They make you do crazy things. They deceive you, make you kill somebody, go crazy. Where the angelic world are the physical beings. They can come in here and light. These beings are made of light. The dark force is a parasitic race, and whoever's aligned with that is, according to the mother, the lady, is scripting the book of Revelation. They don't want it to happen.
Why did they want it to happen?
I think it's the dark force. I think that they want to snuff out God. They don't want us to have God in our heart. Why do you think they did evolution? That's the biggest, dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. That every living thing come from a mud puddle, and it can't happen. It's just not possible. It's a laugh. It's a joke.
No, I agree, Jason. I totally agree, Jason A. It's a fucking joke. Let's keep it moving.
I do want to show you a few live pictures that we have as well on the ground as we're watching all of this unfold there as well. This is a live look taking you out to that right there in Tel Aviv. We've been really watching the skies as well as watching and monitoring not only areas in Tel Aviv, but also areas like this. This is a live look that we have there in Beirut. There have been several strikes that have been happening throughout the region as well. And so we do want to give you this update that we have there from Fox News saying this. The Israeli military spokesperson confirmed to them today with Fox News Digital that multiple unmanned aerial vehicles, also known as UAVs, have been launched into Israel from Iraqi territory since the start of this conflict with Iran in order to eradicate the Islamic Republic of Iran's illicit nuclear weapons facilities. And so a lot more information is coming out from how this campaign is ongoing. But we also have this from President Trump speaking on Truth Social today, saying there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, the selection of a great and acceptable leader. We and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. He put in parentheses, MIGA, saying thank you for your attention to this matter. And this is what President Trump did post a bit earlier today. And so when it comes down to all of these developments that are happening there in the Middle East and understanding what we're on the brink of as well, I do want to now continue that conversation, bringing in Peter Duran here with the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thanks for having me, Christina.
Well, we just got into a bit of the new information that's come down within the last hour or so about this ongoing conflict there in the Middle East. But I want to start with the statement that President Trump made earlier today, saying that he's accepting seemingly nothing but a full and unconditional surrender from Iran. I first want to get your thoughts in response to that statement that the president made.
Well, President Trump is issuing this maximalist demand because the United States and Israel are winning, Christina. Together, we are entombing Iran's nuclear program. We're entombing the remaining leadership of the Islamic Republic and dismantling their missile program. You want a wow number, Christina? 86%. Since the start of this operation, that strikes by the Islamic Republic on Gulf neighbors and Israel and every other country in the region, they are down by 86%. This shows the significant progress the U.S. has made, and President Trump, frankly, is trying to avoid more killing, and that's why he's issuing his demand for unconditional surrender.
I have to ask you, Peter, we do know that President Trump made those remarks on social media just a few hours after Iran's president announced that unspecified countries had begun mediation efforts. This was sort of seemingly trying to make an announcement about a diplomatic end to some of this conflict.
That sounds stupid.
How does this sort of tie in as we're watching how both of these countries will now
they're going to
continue
mediate
respond?
for?
Well, the big question is, who is left for us to negotiate with?
Exactly.
We've seen a systemic
That makes no sense.
decapitation strike on this terrible, brutal regime. You have to wonder who's left. But more important than that, President Trump has been clear. He wants a change in the government. He wants to eliminate the ability of this of the Islamic Republic's capabilities, let's say, to strike its neighbors with missiles and drones, and there shall no longer be any nuclear weapons program. It was rather shocking, Christina, to hear Special Envoy Witkoff say in public that he was told by the Iranian side during their negotiations they have enough material to create 11 nuclear bombs.
That's crazy.
That red line has been very clear from President Trump from the beginning. And so in asking and entertaining perhaps an end
Whoever
to this regime,
was that person,
makes
because
sense.
Ayatollah's
Let's
life.
not mistake winning for negotiations. Right now, we are dismantling this regime. And I think President Trump is trying to give whoever is left a way out while keeping their life.
All right, and we're still continuing to look at some of the video footage that's also been released. It's interesting to see how all of these dynamics play together, especially as we talk about Israel's effort with here with the United States in this campaign. I do want to put this up on the screen as well, because we have an update there from Iranian state media that's being reported by the Associated Press, saying this, that Iran has now announced that it's launching its latest wave of missiles now targeting Israel. Iran state television showed this footage that you're now seeing there on your screen of what's being called a mass launch of ballistic missiles, and showing various missiles being fired into the sky. Now, this report says that the launch marks the 22nd wave of what's being called Operation True Promise 4, Iran's large-scale military operations now targeting Israeli and U.S. military strategic sites across the Middle East. And so I want to get your reaction to seeing this. We're now getting some footage there from Iranian state media. I'm not saying that that's the most reliable source that we continue to rely on here on Live Now from Fox, but it is interesting to see what they're also putting out as well, saying that this is their 22nd wave amid this ongoing conflict. What do you pull from them continuing to now strike back?
Well, when you look at the numbers, Christina, the numbers of tactical missiles that the Iranian regime has thrown at its neighbors, thrown at U.S. bases in Israel, you do see an increase from, say, the summer during Operation Midnight Hammer. But here's the important point. By going after not the Arrow, but the Archer, by going after the launchers, the remaining launchers that Iran still possesses, the United States and our great ally Israel are essentially preventing more of these strikes. Sure, the Iranian regime can throw up some video online, but what we're seeing on the ground is that the missile defenses are holding. Every once in a while, you are going to get what's known as a leaker, a warhead or a rocket that manages to break through, but the overall human cost, the civilian death count as a result of Iran's strikeout strategy has been surprisingly and thankfully limited. And that's a good thing.
And so we're still continuing to monitor those live looks there in the region, including this shot that we have there in Tel Aviv. And so, as you've been talking about, we've been watching the skies as well, not only there over Israel. I do want to put this up on the screen. It's a live vantage point that we also have in Beirut. Let's talk about how all of this comes together with the Lebanese side of things as well. So we do know that Israel is also now pursuing an expansion of that war into Lebanon, pounding the capital of Beirut after ordering this evacuation in the series. They're launching these new attacks, they say, against Hezbollah, which is based within the country. Can you sort of speak to what we're watching as all of this is unfolding?
Well, what we're seeing here is what we can call the war within the war. So if we step back for a moment, we can see the operation by the United States and Israel against Iran. And Iran is simultaneously unleashing its terrorist proxy Hezbollah against Israel, against civilian targets. Every time Hezbollah sees one of those major missiles launched from Iran, they launch their own rockets and their own drones against civilians. So Israel is conducting, we can think of it this way. They are finishing unfinished business. Since 2024, there was a peace agreement, a ceasefire, if you will, with Hezbollah. Hezbollah has now broken that peace, and Israel has decided it is going to finally dismantle the remaining terrorist infrastructure left in Lebanon. For many years, decades, Hezbollah has existed as almost a parallel government alongside the legitimate government in Lebanon. And what we're seeing now is that the government in Lebanon, in Beirut, is saying, we don't want this anymore. Hezbollah is running out of space. Israel is finishing the job. We will see how this ends. But that video you're seeing there from Beirut, it's important to understand this is the remaining vestige of one of the major threats facing Israel and the United States in the region.
It's always good to kind of see all of this unfold as well from some of the video footage that's fed into our newsroom. But as you touched on, this is a very long history that Hezbollah has had with the Iranian government. It is important to note that they've been deemed as a terrorist organization by several others, not just Israel, not just the United States, but several other countries have been watching what's happened there in the region at their hands.
That's right. And even our ally France is intervening. Even the government in Paris is saying, okay, enough is enough. We can no longer allow Hezbollah to exist as a parallel governing structure in Lebanon. I would note, again, Israel continues to be extremely restrained in its targeting. They issued a warning to civilians saying, evacuate now. We don't want to kill innocent bystanders here. We're going after the remaining terrorist infrastructure that exists in Beirut. And even the government in Lebanon is saying we can no longer allow Hezbollah to have weapons. This is big. Whether or not Israel is able to finish its war within the war, we don't know yet. Whether or not they're overstretched, we have yet to see. But for now, all fronts and all signs show that the United States and Israel are winning this conflict.
Let's discuss some of the other outside factors that are also playing a role here. It has been reported by our partner there with Reuters that Russia is potentially providing insight to Iran about where the United States has some of those places and other important strategy sites in the Middle East in order to help them in some of their sites. It was also, though, reported that the Israeli military said that they had destroyed 80% of Iran's air defense systems. How do these two things play a role simultaneously? The Russia impact as well as the decimation that Israel says it has done so far there in the region.
Well, that's the big story for today. Christina, let's think about this. Russian intelligence officers are assisting the Iranian regime in targeting Americans across the Gulf and the Middle East. Think about what that means. Russia is attempting to assist the Iranians in killing American servicemen and diplomats. This is a significant development if true, and I believe the Washington Post is very likely onto a significant story here. It has major ramifications for President Trump's ability to negotiate with Moscow for peace in the Ukraine war, but Russia's actions here show that Vladimir Putin has no interest ultimately in resolving his war in Ukraine or in seeing the United States prevail in Iran. Makes sense. He's about to lose one of his major partners in the Middle East, and the United States and our allies must never forget that.
All right. And so that's not the only thing that we're watching and listening into, as we're even talking about President Trump once again. Moving ahead, we do know that the president has been very loud and explicit in saying that he wants to have some input in who is the next leader there in Iran. When it comes down to those sort of conversations, how does that work between a nation who is possibly trying to rebuild and what comes next as far as those negotiations?
Well, it very much looks like President Trump is announcing the next season of The Apprentice, Tehran edition, Christina. But more important than that, what we are seeing is that because the United States has put so much effort into toppling and destroying, taking apart this brutal regime in Iran, the president wants a say in how the post-war country is governed. That makes a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, this is a question that must fall to the people of Iran. A lot of folks are looking at different alternatives to the current regime. Obviously, I'm sure Israel has a preference. The United States has a preference. The Iranian diaspora has a preference. But what we want to see is perhaps a transition government, a bridge government that can facilitate democratic elections and give this choice to the Iranian people. That's what President Trump said at the start of this operation. This is your last chance, perhaps for a generation. Take control of your own future.
I'm glad you're bringing up the diaspora as well, because they've been very vocal in the wake of some of these attacks. We've seen celebrations reaching United States cities here as well on both coasts, from New York to LA as of last week. And so when it comes to how they're feeling, this has been a long time coming for so many who wanted to see change there in Iran.
Well, this was one of the more significant developments that has occurred. I mean, imagine Iranian Americans marching through Georgetown in Washington or Los Angeles chanting USA, USA. More than that, residents in Tehran are getting onto the rooftops of their buildings. They're standing on mountaintops, looking at their own country being bombed and cheering because they understand what everyone else knows. The target here is not the people of Iran. It's the regime that has been oppressing them for decades and waging a multi-decade war against the United States. Many people have said that President Trump is pursuing a war of choice, and they're half right, because he has decided that he is going to end the almost 50-year war that this regime has waged against the United States. If successful, we stand on the brink of perhaps a more peaceful, predictable, and attractive Middle East. This is what could be achieved if all trends continue in their current direction.
And we do want to continue to also acknowledge those who've lost their lives in this as well. I want to put this up on the screen just quickly here. We've continued to see some of these names and faces put out to those who have been a part of this operation, Epicuri, that's happening in the Middle East. Those are just 4. There are 6 total U.S. service members who have been killed in some of these strikes. And I also want to put this up on the screen. This is from the IDF. They just put this out on their X account saying this: the IAF completed an additional wave of strikes against terror targets there in the district in Beirut. Among those targets struck, saying that an IRGC Air Force Commander Center, a command center used by Hezbollah Navy unit, as well as a command center used by Hezbollah's financial unit as well. So a lot of strikes there that seemingly are targeted. I think this is sort of confirming what we've been speaking about so far.
That's right. The important words there are Hezbollah's financial unit. These are the bankers for this terrorist organization. This is a vestige of this group that has evaded elimination so far. It was an scripted move by the IDF to go after, we'll call it Hezbollah's bankers. So to have them confirm, yes, we are targeting their financial actors, this is encouraging. It's very hard to run a terrorist organization if you don't have any money and there's no one left to facilitate financial transactions. Those are the three most important words that I see in this statement.
All right, it'll continue to be interesting as we're watching all of this unfold. Peter, while I have you, my last question is going to be for some of those other countries there in the region. We've lightly mentioned Iraq. Afghanistan is also going to continue to have a role as they're all in the same area where this fighting is ongoing. What else are you watching at this point?
Well, Christina, I'm watching the remarkable change that we've seen from our Gulf allies and partners and Saudi Arabia. Think about this. 14 months ago, it would have been unimaginable to see Saudi Arabia getting off the sidelines and lining up with Israel and the United States against Iranian terrorist aggression against them. We are on the precipice here of potentially a new Middle East, one where Saudi Arabia even joins the Abraham Accords, along with other Arab and Muslim states. This is clearly the goal that President Trump is pursuing. He's not there yet, but all trends so far are turning up positive for the U.S. and our great ally, Israel.
All right, so we certainly appreciate Peter for joining us here on Live Now from Fox as we'll continue to keep our eyes on some of this region, live looks there, as well as continuing to break down the very latest as it comes down as well. Thanks so much, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring it back to me here real quick. Let me do a little resizing on one of the videos. And then let me set it up here. Do a little housekeeping while I'm on here. And here we go. Another Jason A. Well, actually, let's put up the volume on it. That'll work.
These purposes. Before I know what was going to happen in regards to this, if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it.
So as you can see from this map, this war, it is the end of the world. Because this situation is so dire that Europe, okay, specifically Germany, France, and Britain,
I can't take this guy serious.
are talking about entering this war. And guess what?
They're already in the war.
If that happens, it is possible that Russia and China will also enter this war on the side of the Iranians.
I don't know about that. I don't think China wants to fuck with this.
Because of the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, because of the importance of the Middle East, everyone has to get involved at some point.
The Middle East, that's why
we have already informed the Europeans and everybody else that they should be careful not to be involved in this war of aggression against Iran. If they help, I'm not trying to name any country, but if any country joins in the aggression against Iran, join America and Israel in the aggression against Iran, definitely they will be also legitimate targets for Iran retaliation.
This is also just into us. Sources tell CBS News Russia is providing intelligence to Iran on U.S. positions.
Fox News has confirmed that Russia is quietly providing intelligence to Iran to help with the targeting. This was first reported by the Washington Post. Russia's goal to prolong the conflict and drain valuable U.S. munitions, much like the U.S. has done by providing targeting intelligence to Ukraine after Russia's invasion.
It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. But here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic. And soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber, but also in the executive branch. And I pray that on their first day in office, they will reverse this deal and reimpose the sanctions and back them up with a credible threat of military force, or history will condemn us for not doing what needed to be done at this critical moment in the world's history.
I want to get to this because this is brand new today. And again, with all of your expertise, maybe you saw this coming. The Washington Post is reporting that Russia is providing intelligence to the Iranians to help the Islamic Revolutionary Guard target U.S. forces and targets inside the Middle East. What do you say about that?
Well, I think if in fact they're doing it, for sure, that's kind of a mistake on their part. If they should just step back, realize this is a lost cause, and they and the Chinese as well, and we shouldn't do it, because all that does is just increases the animus we have towards the Russians, meaning Vladimir Putin, if he is helping them target Americans and our targets that are out there.
We are now in the 7th day of this war, and it continues to broaden. Obviously, a very major assault by the Israeli Air Force on a bunker of the regime in Tehran that was apparently used by the Ayatollah. That was going to be his command post in case of war with Israel. He did not survive long enough to be able to use it. We're told unclear how damaged it was, but Israel said it used 50 warplanes and about 100 munitions, many of them we understand to be one-ton bomb, 2,000 pounds of high explosive, so that can cause some pretty cataclysmic damage. North of where we are on the Israeli-Lebanon border, there have been significant skirmishes. Israel has expanded its war to that second front in Beirut, attacking Hezbollah there. Troops are moving into southern Lebanon. We've had drones hit Kurdish areas in Iran and also in Iraq. There's been a drone hitting Azerbaijan. Obviously, the a U.S. submarine downed a Iranian Navy warship off the coast of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. So this continues to grow. We understand that Russia has been offering some sort of assistance. They've been talking to Iran. Unclear exactly what that is, but this continues to expand.
Harris, you're pointing out a couple of things. First of all, the range of the attacks by Iran since this conflict began, targeting and hitting at least 12 countries so far, and also targeting what could be seen as friendly countries. Most recently, Azerbaijan, this country just on Iran's northern border, targeted by Iran on Thursday with a drone strike. Both countries, Shiite Muslim nations, yet Azerbaijan being targeted, those drone strikes exploding in an international airport, wounding 4 and causing some serious infrastructure damage. The response from Azerbaijan has been fierce. The president saying there will be retaliation.
So this is just coming in, and you can see smoke rising over Tehran. You'll be able to see that momentarily as both the U.S. and Israel continue strikes from the air on terror targets. So this was that original point of view of Israeli pilots. And the capital city, with that smoke rising now through the hour, we will bring you these new images as we get them. And I'm going to ask my team to pop that up as soon as we get it in, because I didn't see it. There it is. Okay. I am joined now by my next guest. I want to get to this. Nations around the Middle East are on high alert, as we are here at home. Iran is attacking them. The radical Islamic Republic launching new strikes on Gulf states today, and Iran is going after our U.S. embassies across the Middle East. In fact, the U.S. embassy in Kuwait is now closed following Iran's drone strikes there. Iranian media reporting new attacks on Bahrain's capital. The building that houses the Israeli embassy was targeted there. And Qatar says Iran has now attacked its navy. Now, remember, these are countries that Iran might have thought were, if not neutral, friendly. They're hitting them. Iran rapidly expanding now the conflict, aiming at 12 countries and at least 2 territories that we know of. It's getting bigger by the hour as they desperately shoot out in every direction.
Questions are also emerging about how Iran developed this capability. Israeli defense analysts have raised the possibility of foreign technological assistance. Some speculate that expertise may have come from either Russia or China, but no public evidence has conclusively confirmed such involvement. For now, the claims remain part of the wider information battle surrounding the war. What is clear is this: cluster weapons change the shape of a battlefield. Instead of one explosion, they create many. And that can leave dangers behind long after the missiles stop flying.
There was a vote that was taken to reaffirm the U.S.'s view that Iran is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. When a similar vote was taken 3 years ago, the vote was 420 to 1. Yesterday, 53 Democrats voted against that resolution, prompting Steve Scalise to say, quote, "We just had a vote in the House to simply affirm the fact that Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism." 53 Democrats voted no. By denying this basic fact, these radical Democrats are defending the murderous Iranian regime and standing against America.
Very, very intricate, but we haven't seen it used as much over the past 24 hours. That's because we've had many fewer missile launches from Iran. Israel says that's because it has decimated Iran's stockpile of missiles, but also its launchers. They say their capacity to launch those missiles is down by 80% at this point. Unclear what the cause is. Is Iran husbanding its arsenal? Is it waiting in anticipation of a prolonged war, which we understand would favor it? Is it trying to focus those missiles and drones, particularly on the Gulf, putting pressure on the Gulf states, which are suffering economically very, very significantly, and we understand are also putting more pressure on President Trump to wrap up this war as quickly as possible because they are not able to move oil through the Persian Gulf, through the Straits of Hormuz, and that is going to cause oil prices across the world to spike. So there's a lot moving right now. Unclear how much longer this war is going to last. Secretary Hegseth has called for 8 weeks, or said it might be 8 weeks, but we understand that the original plan for this combined assault called for about a 2-week campaign. Back to you.
2 weeks? I don't know about 2 weeks. To be honest with you, I rather prefer to see the world blow up. That's just me. Just moving forward.
Well, now it is time for the debrief. Iranians have spent the past week celebrating the death of the Ayatollah.
Damn, they're partying. Yeah, I want to go to that party.
They've waited 47 years for this moment. Iranians aren't angry about the strikes. So why is the left, you know, the so-called tolerant left? Because one by one, the clown show lined up in condemnation this week. Have a listen to Greens leader Larissa Waters.
I get the desire for democracy, but Donald Trump doesn't care about democracy or the Iranian people. He's changed his reason for this illegal war 4 times in the 4 days it's been on foot.
Really? Does this look like Iranians are angry at Trump?
Oh, Lord. But I definitely gonna have to pause it because they will hit me with a copyright strike. But as you can see, they're celebrating all around the world.
The Guardian went with Trump's quasi-dove era is over. Iran's strikes expose his hawkish turn. The ABC claimed Trump has thrown out the rule book on respect for human rights. Funny thing, human rights, isn't it? The Islamic regime has been murdering citizens for years. Protesters were shot at and killed in the streets, women beaten for showing their faces and hair, gay men arrested and sentenced to death. For years, the left have quite rightly responded with anger at the human rights atrocities committed by the Ayatollah and his totalitarian Islamist regime. But now they seem to have conveniently forgotten those atrocities, lest that history gets in the way of their deranged attacks on Donald Trump. As this Iranian woman pointed out when Kamala Harris lashed the president.
He has put American troops in harm's way.
I unequivocally oppose
Who
this
listens to
war
this,
of choice.
But I have to
this
say, I
idiot?
am tired of seeing some politicians here in America, especially Democrats, making this about their own politics, scoring political points like Kamala Harris. Suddenly, she kept quiet about the massacre. Suddenly, she found a voice.
Exactly. I mean, Donald Trump goes in, cuts the head off the snake responsible for said crimes, but he's now the one they claim is abusing human rights. And Iran has already responded so recklessly. It's attacked monuments in Dubai, struck several of its neighbours, including US allied Gulf states, some of them majority Muslim. It's shooting missiles here, there, and everywhere. It even launched one at Turkey, another Muslim nation, although that missile was shot down. I mean, no sane person would think that this is normal behaviour. And so the question has to be asked, why is the left so full of hate? And I think it's a broader point.
Because they getting paid.
Back in the day, they might have hated the Iranian regime, but nowhere near as much as they seem to hate the West and our liberal democratic values, just like the Iranian regime did. It called for death to America and its allies, and that includes us, you and me. It's responsible for 2 anti-Semitic attacks on our home soil, including a Melbourne synagogue. Yet the hypocrisy of some on the left is astonishing. Since October 7, anti-Israel protesters took to the streets around the world, claiming they were there for peace. And Trump brought peace to Gaza, yet they continue their unrelenting hijacking of our streets with pointless protests about Gaza. The left calls for freedom, but don't seem to understand that Trump is offering the Iranian people the best chance of freedom they'll ever have. The left can call you a racist, but will cancel you if you return serve. The left calls out inequality and discrimination, but have so weaponized those words. I mean, they're so overused, they're basically rendered useless. It is a self-hatred movement muddled in culture wars with the ultimate aim of destroying what it deems as white colonialism. The left tie themselves in knots of so much guilt that there is no longer moral clarity on who is the oppressed and who are the real oppressors, and only when it comes to the West. And that is dangerous and it's wrong. I mean, take the Foreign Minister Penny Wong. I mean, she seems to have lost that moral clarity and played right into the regime's hands again this week.
But I am concerned that the conflict is spreading so much. At some point, there has to be a return to diplomacy and dialogue.
Dialogue with who? It's the usual de-escalation. But for whom? And I want to show you this to expose how stupid the left really is. This US student said she and her gay friend want to move to Iran to get away from Donald Trump.
I think that people have misconceptions about religion, especially with Muslims and Islamic regions.
I was not expecting you to be so pro the Ayatollah and pro dictator.
Well, yeah,
Stupid.
we have a dictator in our own country.
I have a
What
challenge
an
for
idiot.
you. We will buy you a ticket, a one-way ticket to Iran. Wait, really? Would you go? Would you take that?
Yeah.
Are you part of the LGBTQ community at all?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go with her? Do you want to bring your boyfriend?
Sure, why not?
Oh, Lord.
They really are just a bunch of dumb hypocrites.
They're useless idiots. That's what you call useless idiots. Oh, Lord, help me. Like, you can't make this shit up. You just can't. I mean, like I said, I'd rather the world would blow up. Because the humans don't deserve it, you know? We don't deserve to be here. We're just never happy, always bitching, fighting. Look how the left are. Like, anything you say is opposite. So if you say the sky is blue, they'll say, no, it's yellow. Or if you say the grass is green, they'll say, no, it's blue. It's all complete fucking backwards with them. So you're not going to fucking win with them. You're just not going to win. And to this point, I'd rather the world blow up. Do you disagree? I mean, I'd rather for the world to blow up so that way we all go together and we are like all one. We all die as one. I hope it really does happen. That's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the world to blow up. That's just me. Here we go with some more news.
So the IDF releasing new video showing strikes overnight that targeted the Ayatollah's underground bunker he never got the chance to camp out in, the same place where he was located and killed over the weekend. But Fox News is told he was not inside it. It comes as President Trump says he wants to personally be involved in picking Iran's next leader, arguing it can't be someone who will continue the former Ayatollah's hardline policies, like his son. He also sent this message to members of the IRGC. Listen.
I'm once again calling on all members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the military, and the police to lay down their arms. They're only going to be killed. So you'll be perfectly safe with total immunity, or you'll face absolutely guaranteed death. And I don't want to see that.
So let's bring in former National Security Advisor, Senior Director under President George W. Bush, Michael Allen. Michael, first in response to what the president just said. He said, guys, I'll give you asylum. Don't fight anymore.
Right.
Should we provide more of a procedure how to do it?
Yeah.
Like where to go, how to identify. You know, we're telling people how to get to the State Department. Should we tell them how to get in touch with us?
Of course. I mean, you see CIA all the time advertises literally for agents inside of Iran or inside of China to get in touch with us secretly. We should be doing the same thing for members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard or anybody who's ready to break with the regime. We need that intel. We need volunteers, and that might be the most reliable way to get it.
So far, we're just 5-6 days into this campaign. You were with the Bush administration. You knew what Iran was up to. You knew the challenge of that nuclear program and the ugly terrorist activities that they were up to. Your thoughts about where this campaign is right now and the need to do it?
Well, the need to do it is very, very strong. The Iranians were going to be able to hold hostage the region with ballistic missiles. They had as many as 2,000 to 3,000. By the way, Israel had to do it for their own defense doctrine, their own protection, if you will. So that was a big part of it. And we need to destroy the vestiges of the nuclear program. It was obliterated, but they've worked on new things. And we need to give, just as the president said, we need to give the people an opportunity to come back out on the streets. And so that's what the president has given them. And that's why he was wise to offer asylum and ask for them to disarm.
So here is Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, yesterday on the role of Iran's leader in this operation.
The president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objective?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. America's reach is global. Our focus here, though, these missions are narrow, they're scoped.
So the president took out 40 of their leaders, 9 more, and then just blew up the panel of experts who was going to pick their next leader. So let's go to the big board and see some of these names that you might recognize and tell me who you think the president might be able to work with, if any. So you got Khomeini's grandson, and you got Hamani's son that the president says unacceptable. What else can you tell us about that panel?
Yeah, it's a group of hardliners, and I'm not so sure that any of them will work with us. I know that the CIA and the Mossad must have detailed profiles on each. But look, the son of this late supreme leader is another, the new boss, same as the old boss, very tough guy. And most of these are hardcore regime clerics. And so I think we're going to have trouble working with any of them.
Mike, how when the insurgency happened in Iraq, and originally was the Baathists, Saddam Hussein's loyalists, and then what happened after? What did Iran do in those years after with the insurgency?
Well, they wanted to exploit the fact that the Shia were no longer repressed in Iraq, and they wanted to make the United States pay for the invasion.
And they killed over 600 of our guys.
Oh, yeah, with IEDs, the improvised explosive devices, and killed so many of our people. So this isn't about revenge per se, but they deserve what they're getting.
This is part of the ledger on why they have to be stopped. Mike Allen, look forward to talking to you on this historic campaign. Appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the
Gonna go ahead and keep moving. Benny Johnson.
This is CNN, a network of Turner Broadcasting System.
Unbelievable. CNN is fake news, and it's been proven time and time again. But the funniest time to prove that,
all right, what you're seeing
is
right
in a
now
war zone. This is one of the funniest clips that ever been broadcast. Ever. It's CNN reporter Erin Burnett standing there in the middle of a desert. Notice she's in the middle of a literal desert. And she says, I'm in the border with Gaza. There's a tank battalion that's about to roll through. If only there was anywhere else to stand. There's literally empty fields in every direction. It's a barren wasteland here. And lo and behold, she just stands right in the middle of the tank treads for effect. It's really funny. Watch this.
All right, John, I'll tell you what you're seeing right now. We're actually right near a staging area, tank battalion that actually went in on Saturday morning right along that Gaza border after the Hamas attack. Some of those tanks actually are going to be driving by right now.
What will happen?
Get covered in this, so
if there's only a place, if there was a place for me to go, if only there was somewhere for me to go. I'm trapped. I'm stuck in the middle of this field. I can't do anything.
Oh, you're gonna be on that dust.
But I'll tell you what we saw.
He's a fucking idiot.
Tank battalion had been in there.
What an idiot.
CNN's done this a lot. Stuff they did in Syria was like unforgivable. And now Iranians are furious at CNN's propaganda for the Iranian regime. Downplaying panic as shoot to kill orders given. Oh no. Okay, what's going on with CNN? Now, CNN has gone into Iran. They used Frederick Plitgin to whoever the hell this is to
so
go
stupid.
to Iran's capital.
Why would CNN send this guy?
Dangerous, for sure.
It makes zero sense.
CNN is operating in Iran only with government permission. Oh no. Oh no.
He's in trouble.
Okay, so CNN is going in.
Border and are now inside of
listen.
Iran. The Iranian government has granted us a visa to come here and to report from the Islamic Republic of Iran.
An idiot.
We're now trying to make our way to the capital, Tehran, as fast as possible. But of course, the distances in this huge country are immense, and we know it's going to take many, many hours for us to get there. We also don't know what the situation on the road to Tehran is going to look like, how many checkpoints there's going to be. And of course, we know at the same time, there are massive combat operations also going on. The United States and Israel are continuing their...
Okay, got it. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the kind of guy you send to Iran. All right, what's going on with this dude? Let's go ahead and check. CNN's Frederick Plitkin encounters more checkpoints than usual, armed personnel on the road. Sees no sign of panic. Shops are stocked. Gas appears readily available. No long lines. CNN is operating with government permission.
Place, so it seemed like a fairly fresh airstrike. Also, some destroyed buildings that we saw from our vantage point as we were driving past. The other thing that I would also say is that there are definitely more checkpoints.
Okay, all right. So what does this guy do exactly? So here's what he's done. So this is his X page. Listen, I get it. Like, it's neat to see. So he's showing that people are getting oil. Okay. Got it. Stopped at several shops and stations on the way. Everything is open. There doesn't appear to be any shortages of anything. No lines or gas stations. Look, here's a poster commemorating the Ayatollah. Look at the Ayatollah. He is so loved. Whatever. Just cross the border. We'll be reporting from here. Here's a photo of a thing. A little house. I'm very serious. Very serious. I'm in danger because the government's allowing me to take propaganda photos of the country. Yikes. Okay.
Not smart.
All right, dude.
Not smart.
Listen, like, I get it. Like, I think it's interesting as well, but he didn't really get anything interesting. CNN is operating with the government's permission. Amazing. This means we are going to get unbiased, uncensored, nuanced reporting from inside Iran. Bravo to all involved. Incredible journalism, really doing the people of Iran a great service, says Iranian influencers. CNN has been running around calling Fox and CBS state TV. Meanwhile, they're crawling to the Iranian regime to beg their permission to go into Iran and act as a mouthpiece for the Iranian regime. CNN is operating only with the government's permission. So why, pray tell, should I believe a single thing coming out of CNN? If anybody's looking for a PR person, this guy's a 5.5 rating for mass murdering authoritarian regime. Iranians are crashing out hard on CNN over this. Repeat business says a lot about client satisfaction. With government permission. How miserable you are, poor leftist. Nobody else finds it disturbing that the Iranian government is giving CNN permission right now. Right. CNN operates only with government permission in the Islamic regime of Iran. Foreign journalists are there to report under strict supervision. The government jails reporters and censors the media. Iran knows what regime allows. This is why he's able to upload and publish things, right?
Usual. We did see checkpoints with fairly heavily armed security personnel. Any sign of order collapsing here? Taking a quick break for a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours. There's a couple of things that we've noticed. Number one is that, first of all the shops are open. All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables. Coffee, obviously, also available as well. And then also the gas stations. There's no long lines at gas stations. Fuel seems readily available, and you just
because nobody's going to come out.
Any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
Okay. Iranian influencers totally crashing out on this. CNN, operating with government permission, tells you everything you need to know. I mean, Iran is a huge country. It's as big as 2 or 3 Texases. So, like, do you think that your little car, like, do you think they couldn't have, like, created potentially propaganda stops for you?
Right.
How do CNN journalists have internet access with the Islamic regime, a regime that shut down access for ordinary people?
Exactly. How do they have internet?
Question.
Unless they have Starlink.
How do you have internet when nobody else has internet? It's strange. Funny footage from CNN. CNN team reporting from inside of Iran says the situation does not appear chaotic. Everything's happy. Everyone happy. This guy, they do great in North Korea. All right, Iranians are calling this out. Here we go.
CNN has been able to report from inside the country and has been allowed to send their footage out to a U.S. news network.
So the gas stations, there's no long lines as gas stations. Fuel seems readily available.
I think one of the reasons there aren't long lines at the gas stations is because, and I'm going out on a limb here, a lot of people are staying inside because the country's getting bombed.
All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, the shelves are probably pretty stocked because most people can't afford groceries right now.
You just don't see any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
Did you see the panic of the people who were getting shot at by the IRGC when they were chanting from the rooftops? Did you see the panic of the people who are getting stopped at armed checkpoints and being threatened? Did you see the panic of the people who are watching state-controlled television today as the IRGC said, if anyone shows any enthusiasm or excitement for what the U.S. and Israel are doing, we can shoot to kill you? Or how about the state TV host who threatened an Iranian women's national team and said that they should be punished harshly and considered treasonous because they chose not to sing the national anthem? Or how about the panic of the parents whose children were killed, reportedly by a U.S. strike on the school in Minab?
Taking a quick break for a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours.
Ugh, I am so glad you found a good cup of coffee. It is so hard to find quality coffee during wartime. Next time you want some coffee, let me know. I have so many places in LA I could suggest to you. You don't need to drive all the way to Iran. Oh, okay. Yeah, that tracks.
Just a reminder, my favorite CNN story of all time, the fake ISIS torturer for the Assad regime that tricked CNN into thinking he is a helpless prisoner. Awesome. Recap here. Yeah, don't trust CNN. Okay, don't trust CNN. Literally propaganda for terrorists. All right, here you go.
Clear if there is something under the blanket.
Oh, it moved. Is there someone there? Is someone there? Or is it just a blanket? I don't know.
I think it's someone. Hello?
Okay, it's just moving.
Yeah. Oh.
What the hell? What the hell? This is just crazy.
Says, I'm a civilian.
He so happens to just be laying there.
He tells the fighter he's from the city of Homs and has been in the cell for 3 months.
3 months?
Okay, you're okay. You're okay.
He looks pretty healthy for 3 months.
He clutches my arm tightly with both hands.
Okay. Does anyone have any water?
Water? I think he's been drinking pretty fine.
Mike. Okay, it's water. It's water.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Okay.
Take him out to dinner while you're at it. Oh Lord, help me. Let's keep it moving.
Give you a live look here at the White House. A little bit later, we'll play out some more of the UN briefing from earlier today, talking all about the war in Iran. But next up, I want to bring you some news that was made by the Treasury Secretary earlier tonight on Fox Business on the Larry Kudlow show, where he talked about, okay, this evening and going into the weekend could be some of the biggest activity for our U.S. forces that will be conducting operations in and around Iran. I want to play out some of that sound right here on Live Now.
Larry, you know, the Iranians are fighting on two fronts. They're fighting a losing military battle where they're being overwhelmed. As Secretary Hicks, the General Kane, and the president have all said, tonight will be our biggest bombing campaign and will do the most damage to the Iranian missile launchers, the factories that build the missiles, and you know, we are substantially degrading them. You know, our campaign has been overwhelming. So having not been able to succeed there, they're trying to create economic chaos. And you know, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. There are a lot of headline writers, a lot of other networks want to speak to the contrary, but you know, we've considered all this. This is in the president's calculus, and things are proceeding as planned.
All right, so that was the major breaking news from the Treasury Secretary earlier tonight on Fox Business. Again, we'll be keeping an eye on all the developments that are happening in the Middle East, but just wanted to bring that to you right here on Live Now from Fox. What we'll do, everyone, is take a 2-minute break. Stay right here with us. Always more to come in just moments.
All right, well, let's keep it moving.
Iran conflict expands. There's reporting tonight that thousands of Iranian Kurds are preparing for a potential military operation in Iran with U.S. backing. That's the Associated Press tonight. The Kurds are among the largest stateless ethnic group in the world, with roughly 30 million living as minorities in Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. The Kurds represent about 10% of the Iranian population. They make up about 15% of the population in Iraq. The groups in Iraqi Kurdistan have a long history of working with the U.S. during both the Iraq War and the battle against ISIS. Joining us now is Bafel Talabani, president of the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, the PUK. Mr. Talabani, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Let's first start big picture and paint the picture from where you sit of what you see with this war in Iran and what you think the implications are of it as it exists now.
We saw the hostilities start surprisingly, and it seems to be a massive escalation across all fronts. Kurdistan has come under attack from several different angles, and I'm not seeing any sign of a slowdown. If anything, I'm seeing an escalation.
So the U.S. is working on taking out missile sites and drone factories and that sort of thing. But as far as groups on the ground fighting the Iranians, this reporting that thousands of Iranian Kurds are preparing for this operation, where does that stand?
There are a lot of Iranian Kurds that deserve dignity, and they deserve perhaps better treatment. But as for any actual preparation and armed Kurds inside Iran, there are elements, and there's lots of political organization. But most of the most effective fighting forces are actually outside of Iran. They're on the borders here.
You had a conversation with President Trump. What was that like?
He was very charming. He was very kind. I could feel the emotion in his voice. He said that the Kurds were great fighters. My understanding is that the protection of their people in Iraq is paramount. He's very grateful for all the years that we have served and I have spent with your special forces.
You also talked to the Iranian foreign minister.
Yes.
What is their take on things from your call? Do you believe that regime change is possible the way it's heading right now?
The foreign minister, His Excellency, expressed great disappointment, if I'm honest with you. He indicated that as far as they were concerned, the talks were going well. He implied that a technical group was supposed to sit together in the upcoming days to discuss technical matters. He indicated that this wasn't a war that they were looking forward to, but it was a war they would have to fight. It's definitely existential to them. I got the impression that they were open to some form of peaceful negotiation, which realistically is the only real solution to this issue. Regime change at the moment doesn't look on the cards from what I see. We've seen no uprisings anywhere. We've seen nothing of that. But it's early days. I expect this operation to be long and very difficult.
You think there are difficult days ahead. The president is suggesting that he would only accept unconditional surrender, in his words, to a reporter. So you don't see that right now, that this is on the cusp of happening?
I don't, sir. No, I don't see that right now. I think that the regime has been planning for this for 45 years, and you can expect a fierce resistance. The definition of regime change is important. What is the definition of regime change? And is there an off-ramp? Because some could argue that most mission parameters have been achieved. So is there an off-ramp where now perhaps we can try to resolve this diplomatically?
Yeah, I think that from the administration, at least listening to them, taking out the ballistic missile capability, making sure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon was the original objective going in.
Exactly.
The Israelis clearly are more wanting specific regime change to get a different leader in place that the U.S. and Israel can work with.
I understand that. And I think that, Mr. Baer, the conditions, I keep hearing the comparisons to 2003. I think the conditions are very different to 2003. In 2003, there was legitimate, well-known, respected opposition to Saddam among the Shiites, among the Kurds, and don't really see that in Iran now. There isn't a standard, a symbol for people to follow, and that will make it very difficult. Troops on the ground with a country the size of Western Europe, I'm not sure if that's feasible either, but there are many options, and I think the US administration is wise enough to modify their position as the battle changes and as the battlefield changes.
Just to be clear, so there's no armed cross-border operation happening now from your territory in Iraq involving Iranian Kurds into Iran?
Not that I see, and you could argue that that's actually a detriment. Iranians, like everybody else, are very a nationalistic person, and I believe that if they fear that Kurds coming in from elsewhere will cause a split or a splintering of their country, this may actually unify the people and against this separatist movement. Then you have the complications of Turkey. Turkey will have legitimate concerns of this happening. You will have Turkish intervention against the Kurdish troops. At the same time, there is a problem with the Azeris. I think it's a very complicated scenario, and perhaps Kurds being tip of the spear is not the way to go.
Yeah. Well, there are many minorities, you're right, in Iran, and it's very complex as far as how it comes together. If you were to look into a crystal ball, how do you think this ends?
I think that Kurdistan needs to be a bridge, not a battlefield. And the Kurds are uniquely positioned as being your great allies and a partner and a neighbor of Iran. I think we're uniquely positioned to play a role in de-escalation when the time is appropriate, like my late father used to play that role. But what I see now, from what I'm seeing, is a weakened Iranian system, but the institutions, though very different to ours, are institutions and they remain solid. I think that once military objectives are achieved, I dare say that it will be the time for diplomacy. And at that time, we stand ready, as always, to stand with our friends and allies to try to bring stability, peace, and prosperity to this region that truly has suffered from far too many wars and far too many conflicts.
dealing with the drone threat from Iran, because that's what we're seeing most in some of these Gulf countries.
Yes.
Are you worried about attacks and how to defend against those drone attacks that come in swarms?
Not to sound flippant, sir, it's not our first rodeo, and we have absolutely no defense against any drones. So I think the less time spent worrying about it, the better.
Yeah, I got you. And the U.S. is attempting to deal with all of those threats together. It's very interesting to hear your perspective. If you were to say the thing you're most worried about, what is it?
The humanitarian crisis. I think the people of the Middle East have suffered enough. And I urge all sides to try to look at a less bloody way to resolve our issues. I understand that, and I genuinely believe that Mr. Trump in his heart wants peace. And I understand the theory of peace through strength. And I also think that when the day comes to acknowledge victory, there will be grace in that victory. And we may be able to have dialogue, and we may be able to resolve this issue through the only way that will make a long-lasting peace. And that's dialogue, stability, peace.
Yeah. Well, fascinating to talk to you from the region. Balfil Talabani, the head of the PUK. Thanks for the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey.
Okay, so let's go ahead and make myself a little big. Gotta do a little resizing here. Tonight's show, like I said, it's not going to be too long. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back on here on the weekend. I may or may not, depending on what goes on in the world. That's the determination I'm going to make if I should come on. The only way I'll probably come on if it's truly been announced that World War III breaks out and everyone has chosen their sides, and we'll figure it out from there. But it's just wild times. Let's check out this video here. Actually, we're going to come back to Melody King in a second. I want to see this.
Tonight, debris flying through the air as tornadoes, flooding, and volatile weather are on the move. In Michigan, a path of destruction, buildings completely destroyed. This store, now a shell of what it once was. Holy crap. Watch as strong winds rip the roof off this building. The relentless weather creating dangerous conditions for travelers, this car driving in zero visibility. In Indiana, floodwaters swallowing up this big rig and leaving these trucks stranded with water surrounding them on all sides.
Wow.
At least 7 suspected tornadoes roaring across Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma, where one claimed the lives of Jody Owens and her teen daughter, Lexi. Their
That's
family tells
crazy.
me they were trying to get home when conditions quickly deteriorated. Jody was on the phone, warning her other children to take cover.
In her last moment, she was calling her family to let them know to get to find shelter for this tornado, and the last words that were heard were her trying to help others.
Officials say their vehicle was swept hundreds of yards off the road.
Some of my
I got picked up.
regrets in this moment. Is not reaching out more. It's not letting her know how much she meant to me.
Many small towns across America's heartland seeing big damage. The wind strong and severe enough to break power poles and stretch power lines like these across roadways for miles. The destruction is widespread, with the threat of more severe weather far from over.
And George Solis joins us tonight in Tulsa. And George, the tornado threat there remains.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. You might be able to hear one of those tornado sirens. And across the plains tonight, that threat continues for some 32 million people. And that number actually goes up tomorrow to about 37 million people.
Wow.
All the way from Texas to the Great Lakes. So as you can hear, this threat is far from over tonight.
Yeah,
Tom?
we can hear it, George. So get to safety. We thank you for that report. We thank you
I
for
don't know, like
watching.
he's
And remember, stay
scared.
updated on
He thinks he's invisible. We got the sirens going off, and he's just like standing there, like, okay, I'm gonna take it. All right, now let's go to Melody King. Let's put the volume up on it.
More than $890 million a day. That is how much the war in Iran is estimated to be costing the American taxpayers. That figure comes from analysts at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. And here,
better than giving it to the fucking illegals.
Air operations alone are estimated at about $30 million a day. Naval maneuvers add another $50 million on top of that daily. And ground operations, which are much smaller in comparison, are roughly $1.6 million a day. But the real costs come from the weapons. In the first 100 hours of the conflict, bombs, missiles, and artillery were expected to total around $1.5 billion. And missile defense isn't cheap. Interceptor systems used to shoot down Iranian drones and missiles cost roughly $1.7 billion within the same early window. The opening phase of any conflict is usually the most expensive, but if the fighting drags on, or
but he's not okay. This is why it's when you fill yourself up with all this media and stuff, and then you listen to everybody and how they're talking, you can already feel the energy. This guy's projecting, oh my God, we're spending all this money. Oh, newsflash. These weapons are already been made. These weapons are already paid for. These weapons were on storage. There's so much weapons that are in storage that they need to have a war to empty out the storages to bring in the new weaponry. Let that sink into your brain. They doing this. They got it. Like they're using their old shit. Same thing with Iran. Iran is just throwing out, missiles and stuff, but they're not throwing out the real shit that they have. Like they're gonna do it at some point, but when they do, the gig is up. Because then that opens up another door of Pandora's box. And you don't want to see what's in that box. I'm saying right now, they come with atomic weapons and futuristic weapons, and you don't want to mess with that. But when you hear this guy and these people projecting, oh my God, 1.5 billion and 2 trillion and this and that numbers, this has already been paid for. This military, the only thing that we're constantly possibly paying for is the man hours that we have out there and the fuel and all the bullshit that's going on, because you got to pay the soldiers, you got to pay all of them because they do have lives back at home, but those jets are already paid for. Those air carriers and battleships are all paid for. All the missiles are already paid for. So I don't understand why they're projecting all this fear. Oh my God, look, we're spending all this money every day. Like 30 million, 1 billion, 2 trillion. So you can't put a price tag to fucking freedom. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go back to Melly King.
Expands to include US troops on the ground, that price tag could skyrocket. A 2-month ground war could cost up to $95 billion. And with Iran's clear strategy of hurting the US-Israeli war machine financially, you have to wonder, could that cost continue to grow?
So let's jump straight into it. It says Iranian damage to U.S. bases across the Gulf, Day 7 report. Now, I really want to focus in on the THAAD systems because there's something I want to update you with the cost, of this war. So it says the ANFPS 132 early warning radar in Dahal hit and damaged according to satellite imagery analysis. The ANTPY2 radar, which is a THAAD system, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'll just say Salty Air Base, struck and apparently destroyed based on satellite images showing debris and craters. THAAD radar facilities, Ruiz, buildings and vehicle sheds used to store radar systems struck. THAAD radar facilities, Al-Sadir, multiple buildings and radar storage sheds struck. Satellite communication terminals and radomes, U.S. 5th Fleet Headquarters damaged. Buildings and warehouses, 5th Fleet Headquarters, multiple structures damaged or destroyed. Ali Al Salim Air Base, buildings and infrastructure hit. Camp Arifjan, facility damage reported. Alleged by Iran, but not independently confirmed. And these are just several other things, right? And they're just also claiming that large-scale U.S. equipment losses and hundreds of casualties claimed by Iranian sources. There are other sources now that are saying that the number of Americans that have died, of soldiers that have died, is in the hundreds. Someone said even over 1,000. That is not confirmed. So, and of course, the U.S. is denying this. Okay. Of course, they're going to deny it right now, but they're denying it. So I can't guarantee that. But one thing that I am finding is that you know, just because something comes from a outlet in the UK or Australia or somewhere in the Middle East doesn't mean that it's not true. But again, we have to get verification. But I want to show you this because initially this was denied, right? This was denied until the satellite imagery came out, right? So this is one of our THAAD systems, and this is it intact, okay, on March 3rd. And now we can see, I don't know if you guys see this picture. Let me blow it up. Clearly, it's been hit. It's been bombed. And this is where I really want to talk about really quickly, because did you realize how expensive these things are? Take a look at this. So terminal high altitude area defense, that's THAAD, those systems cost approximately $1 billion to $1.8 billion per battery. Now,
Sounds like a ripoff.
there have been 5 of our systems that have been reported, of our THAAD systems, that have been nuked and taken out. Individual
Why'd you use that word
interceptor
nuke?
missiles cost between
All right, hold on,
12.7
Maddie. You're losing. You're getting lost in the sauce, girl. You're getting lost in the sauce. You gotta understand, these weapons are already paid for. Why you think that we pay so much in taxes every time we go shopping? Do you think that money just magically they just take it out? Like, you go to the store and something costs $11.99. Oh, okay. Am I gonna pay just the $11.99? No. Not only that, you're gonna pay taxes. And every purchase you pay taxes. So guess where that money goes? That tax money goes. Right. Okay. Like I told you, I have plenty of bridges here in Connecticut that I can sell you. Go back to Lost in the Sauce tonight. Melly King, she's lost in the sauce.
million and $15.5 million each. The system is designed for high altitude interception of short and medium range ballistic missiles. So are you guys understanding how expensive this is getting, with it costing nearly, right now we are seeing the cost is rising every day,
Hey,
but
for
it's
freedom,
costing about $1 billion
I don't give a fuck
a
what it
day
costs.
currently, while
If
we
it's
are
gonna bring
engaged in
freedom
this
to the
war.
world,
So understand this, the
it could cost
financial and economic
$100 trillion.
fallout from this is going to be catastrophic across the board, across the world. And we are seeing reports of that coming in right now. And remember, they
I'm not
just
gonna
went before
fearmonger you
Congress
guys.
to
I
ask for
promise you
$50
that.
billion so that they can re-up their weaponry supply and to support this war. But this just came out, and Iran has responded in a crazy way. But it says there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. Okay, so this is coming from Trump, from the White House. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that's basically the gist of it, is that Iran must give an unconditional surrender. But we know Iran is not going to do that. In fact, let me show you this. This is quite wild. And this, I fact checked this. This was actually their response. It says Iran's response to Trump's unconditional surrender demand: our fate will not be determined by the Epstein gang. Guys, I kid you not. This is what they put out, that their fate will not be determined by the Epstein gang, which is rich because we know what happens in Arab countries to women and girls in particular,
Oh, Lord.
and but again, this is showing not only are there will be no surrender. This is a holy war for them. Like, they are willing to lose their lives. They are willing to take it all the way, and they don't care who gets hurt in the process.
Yeah,
That
but
means
that's reckless,
nothing to
and
them. They have
that's
no
the reason
incentive
why
to
we have to
stop
put a
this
stop
war at
to it
all.
now.
And in fact, they're digging in even harder.
We have already.
Okay, before we hear this shit, let's bring it back to me. That's the reason why we started this shit, because why are we going to continue to let them build and build more arsenal to the point that, like, if they do start something big, they have so much ammunition that they can destroy countries. And right now, it's a pure example, as you can see, They don't give a fuck. They're shooting all their missiles everywhere, and their neighbors are getting hit. Everybody's getting hit, and there's no loyalty. So what makes you think that maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that they weren't gonna have a bigger arsenal and really truly try to challenge the world? Listen, we gotta put a stop to it. Like, if you had the opportunity to put a stop to something big from happening, wouldn't you stop it at the beginning instead of waiting until the end? And you're like, oh shit, let me step in now. Why it's at the end? I'm please, world, blow up already. Just blow up. Here we go.
Informed the Europeans and everybody else that they should be careful not to be involved in this war of aggression against Iran. If they help, I'm not trying to name any country, but if any country joins in the aggression against Iran, join America and Israel in the aggression against Iran, definitely they will be also legitimate targets for Iran retaliation. We have already informed the Europeans and
now outside of this, take
Okay.
a look.
And the
It
reason why
says,
he's saying that, and the reason why he's saying that is because all these countries had open borders. Guess who they sent through those open borders? The sleeper cells. They're in all the countries. They're in UK, they're in Spain, they're in France. Guess what? They're here in the United States. We might have one nearby in New York City. We probably have some sleeper cells in Boston, Massachusetts. And they're all over the United States. That's why the United States raised up their security levels to a high chance of something happening. They sent a lot of people through the borders. The 4 years of open borders with Biden years fucked up our security for probably a couple of generations. All right, you don't believe me? Okay. People come back like, oh my God, this guy was the real psychic. He wasn't like that 15-minute paper psychic. I told you guys, I'm alive to see something really big happening. And something big is going to happen. Mark my words, something truly big is going to happen. And it's going to bring everyone down to their knees. And my knee is fucked up. But I'll probably get down on one knee. Let's continue.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, guys, you know I can't pronounce anything. We have entered a new phase of the war. Tehran has finished its stockpile of old missiles, and now the true technology of the Islamic Republic will be revealed. From now on, Kibar Shekan 4 missiles will be launched towards the Gulf and the Middle East. Remember, they're hitting I think at this point, I want to say 20 countries in the Middle East, and intensively towards Israel and the American forces deployed in the region. Everyone who has chosen to stand against Iran will bear the consequences in the coming hours. Okay. So this was actually put out last night, and we have seen a barrage of missiles hitting over Israel. And there's a story I'm developing with that. I don't want to report on it yet, but there is something crazy going on where supposedly people are being, if you post any videos of any strikes in Israel, anything happening in Israel, that you could automatically get 5 years in prison. Now that is being reported, but I have to verify that before I even try to speak about it, because I don't want to, I don't want to put out false information. Now, this comes on the heels that President Trump says the largest U.S. defense companies have agreed to quadruple production of weaponry to reach the highest levels of quantity. Trump says the U.S. has a virtually unlimited supply of medium and upper medium grade munitions to use in Iran because they were running low. The stockpile was running low. Because this was supposed to be like maybe 3 or 4 days. Now they're saying 4 to
Listen, they're
5
playing
weeks.
mind
Now
games
they're
with
saying
people,
months, and they
and
said,
she's
well, it
falling
won't
for
last
it.
a whole year.
Okay, she is. I hope she's not falling for this. Come on. I tell you about those bridges here in Connecticut. You get to name it too. You get to name the bridge, or whatever name you want to give it. You can name it. There's a lot of like manipulation and mind manipulation games that are going on right now. Lots of it. And the fact that some social media is being sucked into it, and then of course they're going to report on it, but then when I listen to it and then I put how I feel and what the energy is telling me, I'm calling like I have like this radar inside of me, and it's the bullshit radar, and I can read when people are just like, the stories are kind of like just throwing people off, because you gotta understand, we're not gonna say the truth all the time. We're gonna throw up bullshit in between because we gotta confuse the enemy, because the enemy is watching. The enemy is watching, so we gotta throw them off and generate. You see, if this war would have been happening in the 80s, it would have been a lot different, the coverage, than it is now in 2026. If this was back in the 70s or 80s, the coverage would be so different. But yet, the Democrats, the demon rats, they want to go far, far, far left. And they want to stay there because they think that, I don't know what they think, to be honest with you. To this point, it's like, I don't know, man. How can their brains be functioning that way if it's not being manipulated by something? Who is tugging on their energy, their batteries, to cause them to be this way? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. And the fact that you see certain people and certain things, and then the way that how they are influenced, and how they let that energy absorb them. It's just it's dumbfounding for me. It's so, and I'm catching it in real time. But it's okay. It's all about to get worse. That's why I named that I titled this show the way I did. It's about to get worse. Are you ready? If it gets worse, that is the worst coming here. It's going to come from within the United States. You're going to hear mass tragedies, especially around spring break. All right. Say I didn't warn you. It's 3/6/2026. Huh. All right. Let's continue on with the bullshit.
So this is what we're dealing with. And again, that's why I played the cost in the beginning, because these weapons manufacturer can produce more, but it's not as fast, I believe, that is needed. It's not as fast as what's going to be needed for this war. And a lot of people believe that in order to win this, there's going to have to be troops on the ground actually fighting, which is
no, we don't need troops on the ground fighting. And the reason why I say this, because there's going to be other people that are going in, and they're going to fight, and they're going to try to take back Iran. It's not going to be only the United States. Why they keep only pinning it on the United States? This is not just the United States war. You know what I mean? So they try and make it seem like, oh, it's just the United States. It's not us. It's him over there. It's them. They dumbs. They the ones they started it. Right. I want to see World War III break out. I really want to see it. I hope it happens. I hope that this is the beginning and where World War III breaks out. Because the United States is waiting. Because if Iran does pop off with their weapons, they're gonna regret it. They're gonna regret it. And the world, they're gonna be in shock. Okay. One person, I bet it's I'll be the one person. You're my witness. And it's being recorded on YouTube. Oh Lord, let's go back to Maddie King.
Nearly impossible because of the layout of Iran.
Invading Iran by land? Almost impossible. And here's why.
They got a lot of mountains.
To the west, the Zagros Mountains, a rocky wall with narrow passes.
And that's where a lot of missiles are hidden. It's in the mountains.
North, the Elburz Mountains, rising like a shield beside the Caspian Sea. To the east, more rugged mountains near Afghanistan and Pakistan. Still no easy entry. And in the middle, two deadly deserts, Dasht-e Kavir and Dasht-e Lut. Scorching heat, salt flats, sand that swallows tanks, mountains, deserts, bottlenecks. Iran is a natural fortress, and that's why invading Iran by land is a military nightmare.
And this is what I want to emphasize, because I keep telling you guys, we are headed towards World War III. Some people want me to be a sycophant and just give you news that you want to hear, but I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm here to inform you and also keep a biblical mindset, a biblical perspective on this. Because all of this was predicted in the Word of God. Things were never supposed to get better on this earth. That is a humanist type of thinking. And it is really anti-Christ. It's anti-biblical because we were told what's going to happen towards the end. Okay, these things are escalating. They're supposed to happen. Doesn't mean I want them to happen. Doesn't mean I think we should be doing anything to make it happen. But this is the reality that we live in. And I'm finding that a lot of people don't want to live in reality. And I think it's because people are scared. You believe in, maybe country, politician, person, place, or thing more than you do the Word of God. And I have to say this because it's just bizarre to me that those who call themselves Bible-believing Christians are like outright outraged or cursing people out, or just like, you're now a Democrat, you're a lefty, you're helping Iran. Like, what? Really? For reporting truth, giving you information that isn't just the talking points of the mainstream narrative is now somehow that. And I want to say this because I think a lot of people do not realize how significant this is right now, right? They're just thinking that this is going to be a quick thing in Iran, but they are pulling in all different types of countries into this, and this is going to affect the world globally, even with our strategic partners and allies, especially in the Middle East and throughout Asia, who are getting hit hard right now. And in fact, in my next report, I'll probably bring up all of that they're now talking about. They want this to end. They're very upset with the US, very upset with Israel for dragging them into this, because although they're hitting our air bases, but they're, in these countries, they're also hitting their airports and hitting different parts of their countries. And economically, this is a nightmare because of the Strait of Hormuz. It has absolutely destroyed their oil production. And that doesn't even get into the threat of them hitting their desalination plants. Do you understand these countries will run out of water in less than 2 weeks, fresh water? If Iran decides to escalate and hit these desalination plants, which you now see, they are digging in. They're not giving up. This is a holy war for them to the end. And they will do everything possible to hurt not only the US, but any of the allies, anyone who stands.
But you see, she's just pushing the fear mongering. You know, that's just what she's doing right there. It's just pushing fear and projecting fear. I'm not going to try to do that. I just tell you straight up. Are you ready? I told you straight up. It's about to get worse. No fear needed. I don't need to push on you guys. Nope. I don't need to do that. I already see what's going to happen. You know, it's going to get crazy. And don't sit back and be like, oh, they're running out of bombs. They're running out of this. She's never been in the military. You could tell. She don't know shit about the military. She's only reporting what she reads. She's you know, that's okay. I watch her show and so forth, and she brings up some good stuff, and sometimes it's just not good. Like especially this one. It's like you don't know the futuristic weapons that the United States has. You don't understand that the United States is not trying to kill all these Iranians. They don't want to kill the people. They want to get rid of the empire that they created, these negative energies, these demons that are were here and now they're not, but they continue to wanting to put more fear and threat of bigger war and bigger this and we're gonna do all this and that. Listen, the United States can end this real quick if they wanted to. They can end it real quick. But they're going to let it go and continue because they're going to prove their point that if they didn't act now, all these weaponry you see here would have been stockpiled all over the place in Iran. And the war then would have been worse than it is now. Okay? So I understand their ideology, I guess. I understand it. Okay, let's see. Oh Lord, let's finish off with Melody King. That's one thing I'll never project is fear like that. I just tell you straight up, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. That's it. You know, but I'm not gonna be like push. Like, no. No, thank you.
With the US, that's who they're going to hit. And many of these countries are on the board of peace. And in fact, of course, I'll do it in my next one. There is a country that's on the board of peace that has now pulled out because of this. And it is mostly the economic strain that we're seeing in these countries. Like some of these countries only have like 2 months reserve of oil, of gas.
Then that's their problem.
In Australia, I believe I found a report.
They should have been more prepared.
Days, and they all depend on the Strait of Hormuz. That doesn't even include what's just happened with Russia and the oil. And now we're going to lift some sanctions and all of that. Those things are happening for a reason. And I told you that those would happen, right? So you can get mad all you want, but you need to talk to God. Okay, that's a heart issue with you, not me. I've been called to do this as a ministry. Not only to give you guys the signs and wonders, but to report the facts that I'm seeing. Because my focus right now is, listen, it's a wrap for this world. It's a wrap for this world. And it's always been a wrap for this world. I'm just enduring to the end as Jesus Christ has instructed me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at all the signs and wonders, including this, a war, rumors of war, this will continue to escalate. I've told you about digital ID and all the other layers of things that are going on right now. How anyone could see this stuff and not realize we are in the last seconds of the last days. You need a wake-up call, or continue to bury your head in the sand and say everything's going to be fine. But let's just see where that gets you. But guys, I wanted to give you that update. Make sure again,
but definitely what it's going to get you is like, you don't need to be pushed too much fear. You know what I mean? Because that's you ever heard of the term fear tactic? And it's very strong energy. Fear is a very, very strong energy. And if you can get a lot of people to be in fear at the same time, that could cause big time problems. If we go to World War III, let's go. It's like, they're gonna line up. Like I said, they're gonna be a lot of terrorist attacks throughout the world, especially in Europe and in the United States, because they're already infiltrated. So they're already been hunkered down for years upon years. Okay. We'll see. I'll tell you right now. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for whatever comes our way. I'm not gonna live my life in fear. I fucking died and came back. And what I gotta live in fear? Get the fuck out of here. Y'all motherfuckers don't know me that well, if you believe that shit. Alright, let's go ahead and watch some The Rohai Maya.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, there's nothing I despise more than being put in a box or people who have these binary reductive worldviews. And in this case, I haven't been shy in pointing where I believe that's now coming from. If you support anything that's going on in Iran, if you believe there's any strategic interest in taking the actions that this president has taken, then you're a Zionist, you're a Jew, you're clearly an Israeli shill. It's an end or proposition, it appears. But then you got people like me who are just frankly confused by this. I've stated on countless occasions, Israel's political ambitions mean very little to me, and yet I'm largely supportive of what's going on here. Of course, in this limited scope, not full boots on the ground, full scale, endless wars. I'm not there just yet, but I am explicitly not a Zionist. I am not an Israeli shill, and I can still see the merit. I can still understand the strategic importance of shutting down the Iranian threat. And no, it's not as black and white as you're a Zionist if you do. No, probably the most important factor has nothing to do with Israel and everything to do with China. Not to mention the threat of radical Islam and Islamic caliphates potentially getting their hands on freaking nuclear weapons. Yeah, let's all just fall asleep to that notion. Anyways, I want to kind of speak to the rationale. I want to take the conversation beyond the whole Israel thing. And of course, that puts China directly in the spotlight. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So again, for me, what's going on here has nothing to do with Israel. It has really nothing to do with Israel's security, their interests or ambitions in the region, and frankly, for me, everything to do with China. It's the same reason I was a massive proponent of what happened in Venezuela. We're cutting off their lifeblood, folks. China has been dealing with these little despot oil dictatorships. They've put themselves in a very cushy position where they're essentially soaking up natural resources from these nations at extremely competitive prices. They've been playing both sides of the issue, you know, pretending as if they're part of the West or they want to be part of the West and everything that we've got going on. They were admitted to the World Trade Organization. We obviously conduct a massive amount of trade with them. Their GDP is mostly thanks to us, but then at the same time, they've put themselves in economically strategic positions with nations that seek to do us harm and are doing us harm. And of course, Venezuela and Iran, and let's say North Korea as well, I'd say those are the big three, right? Well, cut it off. That's what I say. Cut it frickin' off. And it appears that's exactly what we achieved in Venezuela in 24 frickin' hours. And now look at the situation. We've got Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's replacement. Let's call it regime change, right? We've got her totally cooperating. They're producing oil, sending it to us at market rate. I just heard of a multi-$100 million gold deal that's happening as well, and possibly mining other resources. And we've got Delcy Rodriguez signaling a clear shift in relations between our two nations. She's now publicly making statements where she's essentially singing our praise. You know, I get there's this very one-sided view that regime change always bad, but maybe regime change has more to do with who's engaging in the process rather than the entire concept just being bad and negative no matter what. And that's really been my perspective this entire time. You know, some people might say, well, you're a hypocrite because you've criticized regime change in the past and now here you are tacitly supporting it. But I'm just going off my experience and time again. If there's one person that I think is doing things in good faith, doing them on behalf of the nation, its people, and not some shadowy establishment cabal, it's President Trump. And that's why it's so hard for me to kind of, you know, just surrender to this notion that he's doing everything because it's some vast, Israeli conspiracy. I just don't see it. I think President Trump is looking to engage in a global realignment here. And he's looking to put America in the most strategic global position that it could be in. And that means cutting off China's resources.
We have a chokehold on the strait. Assume that China wanted to move on Taiwan, right? There's a military response, but now we have a massive energy response, which is we simply don't allow any tankers to ship oil from the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. We can do it. It might have been a little bit dicey had we not taken out the Iranians. That's roughly half of their oil. 40 to 50% of their oil is now suddenly not available to them. So those are enormous methodologies. And look at what happens in terms of military technology, Jesse. China provided their most advanced air defense capabilities to Iran. We completely destroyed them. They didn't shoot down one American or Israeli plane. So China now has the problem that their military technology is not recognized as being up to par to the United States. That's going to have huge implications with a whole host of other countries.
Right. So they lose a bunch of customers and they lose face. If this mission is successful, now we have no idea how this is going to play out. If it's successful, what kind of position does that put the United States of America with Venezuela and now Iran more in our orbit?
Well, it means that a lot of countries in the developing world that might have been flirting with China don't want to flirt with them anymore because they realize that China can sign all the quote unquote strategic partnerships they want, but they're not going to do anything about it if their allies get in trouble. Second of all, they understand that this administration is the partner that they want to be in business with, not Beijing.
And look, it seems to be already having an impact, folks. We're now seeing that China has set their official projections for economic growth. Their new target is now below 5%. That's the first time we've seen that in more than 30 years, according to the New York Times. There's also this interesting chart right over here showing the cost of oil in China skyrocketing from $60 a barrel to now $100. And so many people online are saying, Israel, Israel, Israel. But I'm thinking two things. I'm thinking China and the petrodollar. And on that front, we are making some global plays here on the risk board that might just put us in a position of absolute authority and strength. I think there's obviously more to it, and I think there's ample justification. Now, that seems to be another point that the naysayers, the doomsayers, the devil's advocates are also promoting as well. Actually, I think this clip from CNN kind of puts it into clear perspective.
They don't want them to have ballistic missiles. They don't want them to have a nuclear program. They don't like that their Navy makes trouble for everybody in the Gulf. And that is the stated rationale. You could throw on other things. For the last 47 years, they have killed American troops. They've maimed American personnel. They've exported and funded terror around the world and around the region. And you seem to be suggesting we have no allies in this. I watched the president with the Chancellor of Germany today. He strongly supports what we're doing. The UK is feckless. Spain is feckless, but we have plenty of allies in the region and around the world who know we have done the right thing.
To be clear, you just listed a bunch of things. None of them were an imminent attack. But Rita's question is actually
ballistic
about
missiles, Abby. Drones.
These
are imminent attack weapons.
What proof is there that there were ballistic missiles, that they actually had ballistic missiles that could reach the United States?
Reach U.S. bases. Look at your television. They're falling right now.
Iran has been attacking through their proxies U.S. military bases for some time now. Okay, they might have had capabilities to attack the United States on the homeland. Where is the proof of that?
You've got all these fake intellectuals like Abby Phillips playing devil's advocate, thinking they're making, really, really intelligent foreign policy assessments and analysis. Oh, well, where's the imminent threat? I mean, are you kidding me? The Iranians are funding terror organizations across the Middle East. They're attacking U.S. military bases and strategic targets. They've stated multiple times that they're meddling in American politics. They've got sleeper cells in the country. One of them was activated just recently. And honestly, just the rhetoric. I mean, what we're hearing from their top officials, them chanting death to America, them openly and explicitly stating that they're developing weapons to attack us. They got the barrel freaking pointed at our head. And Abby Phillips is questioning, well, they haven't pulled the trigger yet, now have they? And so there's no justification. It's phony intellectualism. I get the argument that war is bad. We don't want to send Americans to die. We want to prioritize our own issues before fighting foreign conflicts. I understand those criticisms. I understand the criticism of potential endless war and causing more chaos than you end up bringing peace. But this argument, the argument that Iran doesn't deserve it, that I cannot wrap my head around. That Iran's not a threat. Just live and let live, bro. I think that might have been true for Afghanistan. It might have been true for Iraq. There was no real imminent threat. There were no weapons of mass destruction. That was a lie. But Iran, we know very well, is enriching uranium. We know very well they're freaking psycho enough to actually try to make a move and do something. And so I feel like this is a completely different situation. It is in our interest. It's not just in Israel's interest. It appears it's in most of the Middle East's interest. There's Arab nations now taking the side of Israel. Are they Zionists as well? And really, this is just an extension, as I've been saying, of the Don Roe doctrine, except it appears we're expanding it a little bit out of our hemisphere. We're taking all of their shiny little toys, we're confiscating it, and in one clean, systematic fashion, in just the last 6 months, we're totally redefining the dynamic between us and China, us and Russia. Russia's still fighting in Ukraine, sending hundreds of thousands of people to die. It's been years and they've accomplished very little. And here we are realigning what appears to be the entire freaking world in a few extremely decisive actions. I'm not going to be arrogant enough to pretend that I can see the future and I know the real reason why this is happening and why it's going to fail. Now, like I said earlier, I'm on team hope for the best. I'm rooting for Operation Best Outcome Possible. I trust this administration. I trust that Trump knows what he's doing and that he's truly acting on behalf of the best interest of the country and its strategic position on the world stage. And so I'm going to leave some space for that possibility, while not necessarily discounting the naysayers, but also seriously doubting the naysayers and frankly rooting against them. I want more global power in the hands of the American government. I want China's little games shut down. I want Venezuelan oil and gold. I want Iranian oil. I want it all. I don't want Islamic death cult regimes developing nuclear weapons and threatening my part of the world. That appears to be my interest, not Israeli interest. And you got the one guy who's proved himself to be different in the world of politics, making moves and trying to do something about it. I'm sure as hell going to support him. I'm going to hope for the best. And look, if things go wrong, I'll be the first to admit that it all backfired, that it failed. But something tells me this man's about to change the course of history. But of course, only time will tell. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right. Let's bring it back to me here. Do a little resizing. Okay. Guess we're good with that. Go ahead and watch.
Operation Epic Fury is penetrating deep inside of Iran, as tonight we're being told it'll be the biggest bombing campaign of the war. U.S. forces are exterminating what's left of the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. The crippling air campaigns left them bruised, battered, and confused because U.S. growlers are in the air, jamming Iranian electronics. So the regime is flying blind. Their drones are falling out of the sky like dead pheasants. The growlers are scrambling their signals, or they're being shattered by U.S. precision rockets. American warships haven't even used our lasers. We're saving them for the next phase. That's on top of the Air Force sinking Tehran's drone carrier last night in the Gulf. Their Navy has nearly nothing left in the water. U.S. Central Command confirming that we've sunk over 43 Iranian vessels. Here's one of their crown jewels. Watch.
This commissioning sends a clear message of military self-sufficiency.
But probably the most important capability of Shahid Bagheri is that it can remain at sea for an extended period of up to a year, a feature that makes it a game changer for the Iranian armed forces.
Now it's at the bottom of the Gulf. We've hit more than 3,000 targets, and the operation isn't even a week old. And you know what else just got hit? The Ayatollah's bunker. The IDF struck it this morning with 50 fighter jets. It's also home to Iran's primary command and control center. Well, it was. Most of the regime couldn't be there to see it. We killed 50 of their leaders in the first 50 seconds of the war. Just incredible.
Hey, what's up, Chloe?
And now Iran's underground missile cities are being
I didn't notice you right now. I was looking at another screen.
Have been blown to rubble. Former
Yeah, the gas prices are up.
CIA director.
I knew it was going to go up. I told you guys
we
the
are
gas
in
prices
total
were going to go up.
control.
We want to
That's
bring
what
in
you
the
guys
big
do for
ones, the
love, your gas.
B-52s, the
You
B-1
guys
bombers, and
remember or
they're
not?
flying now almost at will. I would argue that we have actually achieved air supremacy, not just air superiority.
As Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said, we're just
But the
getting
gas will
started.
come back down.
The USS Ford, the world's
It's only a
largest
temporary
aircraft
thing.
carrier, just arrived. It was last seen sailing through the Suez Canal and should be in the theater momentarily. Right behind it, the USS Bainbridge, a guided missile destroyer with state-of-the-art Tomahawk capabilities, and the USS George H.W. Bush should be next to arrive. That put 3 carriers in the neighborhood. And just for a little extra
weapons.
Ukraine's got our back. They've pioneered the most advanced anti-drone tech, dealing with the swarms of Iranian drones since Putin invaded.
Damn.
Zelensky says he wants to help. Maybe offer us these wild hornets. The Ukrainians built these beautiful, low-cost, fast, agile kamikaze drones. These Iranian drones can be a real nuisance. They're like mosquitoes. But we've been reverse engineering them and shooting them right back at them. It's saving you money.
You remember what you used to always hear? We're shooting down a $50,000 drone with a $2 million missile. These days, we're spending a lot of time shooting down $100,000 drones with $10,000 weapons from ours. So that's one aspect of it. Lucas, indispensable, as many of you know, and if you don't know, this was an original Iranian drone design. We captured it, pulled the guts out, sent it back to America, put a little Made America on it, brought it back here, and we're shooting them at the Iranians.
You know who's getting
Wow.
nervous? The Russians. They've reportedly been helping Iran with intel, giving them locations of our warships and aircraft. Trump's not worried.
It sounds like the Russians are helping Iran target and attack Americans now.
And that's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here.
The Iranian strategy comes down to this: hunker down and wait for America to lose its will, and hit the Arabs and hit the oil to drive up the costs to the alliance. They're losing the war, so they're waging an economic war as a last resort. Their military is nearly neutered. They went from 100 missiles firing a day yesterday. They launched 8. Their fighter jets are Vietnam era. We're fighting a next generation war with a country still stuck in the 60s. Trump's in no rush. He tells Time magazine this: I have no time limits on anything. I want to get it done. The president wants us to keep going.
In Iran, we're doing very well. Somebody said, how would you score it from 0 to 10? I said, I'd give it a 12 to a 15. Their army is gone. They're just about, look, their navy is gone. Their communications are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their air force is wiped out entirely. Other than that, they're doing very well.
As for a ground invasion, POTUS says it's a waste of time. He wants the same thing as Truman.
What the president means is that when he, as commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, determines that Iran no longer poses a threat to the United States of America and the goals of Operation Epic Fury has been fully realized, then Iran will essentially be in a place of unconditional surrender, whether they say it themselves or not.
Unconditional surrender. We'll know it when we see it. If the mission's a success, the world will owe the president a debt of gratitude, because 1/3 of the world's population was within Iranian missile range, from Paris to Calcutta. And with their uranium stockpiles, their ambition was Armageddon. Trump's strategy: decapitate, then delegate.
As for the future of Iran, as the president has pointed to, of course it's in the best interests of the United States of America for Iran to no longer be led by a radical terrorist regime that chants death to America and is lying to the United States and the world about their secret ambitions to possess a nuclear bomb. President Trump does not want to see that.
Another thing on the back of the president's mind: oil. Cargo ships aren't leaving the Strait of Hormuz, and oil just hit $90 a barrel. That's an issue. But the Trump administration's confident that the oil is going to flow.
The bottom line is our expectation is, given the extreme success of our military, that the things that oil markets are concerned about will be less and less relevant relatively soon. It's something that we're following very closely, and we have a high regard for the military that is putting together a plan to make sure that we can get ships through.
The administration has about 3 weeks before the Arabs have to stop production. Eventually, they run out of storage. That's the window, and the president knows it. But he doesn't look worried. He's confident once the regime collapses, the Strait opens, full production resumes, oil and gas prices will plummet, and the market rallies. This is just in from the American defense contractors we're seeing. They met with the White House, and they've agreed to quadruple the production of munitions. They're going to fast track it. Iran's in big trouble. Another domino could fall even closer to home. 47 sending Rubio to Havana. The president says this: I'm doing it all. We'll fix it. You think Biden could do all of this? I don't think so. President's on a roll. He's setting the foundation for peaceful coexistence among all nations. And he's even showing the Europeans how to save their countries and cultures. Thank God the United States has not sustained a battlefield casualty since Sunday. So the whole work week, no Americans killed in action. We hope Operation Epic Fury continues to be safe for our soldiers, successful, and ahead of schedule. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Because it's like, I don't know, the media wants to call it war. It's an operation. Kind of reminds me of like Desert Storm, Desert Shield type of thing, but this is more airborne. And the reason why it's so airborne is because of the mountains. You gotta remember, there's a lot of fucking mountain terrain in Iran. And you can hide these missiles, these futuristic missiles, in the mountains. So that's how they're going after them, but they're going after mountains too. They're not reporting it so much in the news, but the B-2 bomber has been doing round trips, dropping like bunker buster bombs, and they've been going at it all freaking the whole mission. They're still doing it. So this is not like what happened in that 12-day war or whatever. Like, the United States is going to come, and if they come with something stupid, let's say Iran decides to be ballsy and do something very dirty, like send a ballistic intercontinental. Well, I don't think they got a missile that could go that far, but Italy could be in danger. Just for Iran to prove that we do have these weapons, and we can use it against a lot of people around our area. This is why they wanted to stop them in the first place. This is the reason why. It's because they're attacking everybody with their short range, medium range, but they got long range missiles. And if they go after the big ones like Turkey and Italy, then the ball game changes, and that's where you start having alliances getting together, and that's what you call World War. It's a world war. It'll be the third one because they love to add that third one, but it's a world war. What's so bad about saying what it is? It is a world war. And the whole world is going to be at war. And countries are going to be dragged into it. And they're going to need to be. And the fact that we're witnessing a world war in our lifetimes, you guys don't understand how special you are right now. And how you are are part of this timeline, and we're all witnessing this together. And so many people are so distracted because remember it's Friday, so everyone wants to go to the club, everyone wants to go dancing, everyone wants to go out, do something. They don't want to sit and think. They want to go out and go crazy out and about. And I don't blame them. Young, dumb, full of cum? Yeah, of course. Shit, I was one of them. We were all one of them. So, you know, but if they're going to have an invasion, a ground invasion, and if they're going to, man, I say bring the draft. If we're going to have war, bring the draft and draft all these hooligans and these street takeover individuals and the ones that go and rob the malls and rob stores and rob the Pokemon stores. Like, grab all these motherfuckers, right? And send them right to the front line through Iraq and send them right into Iran and have them fight for our country. And then they're going to come back respecting our country and loving our country. I guarantee it. These little hooligans, they never struggled. They've been taken care of by their families, and their families been getting money probably from the state, and the state's been taking care of that kid, and that kid turned out to be a rugrat and a hooligan and doing whatever the fuck they want, and mama don't care because she's getting her check and she's getting her food stamps and she's getting all her housing on the taxpayer's dime. She don't care. You know? But that's how easily now they get to the youth. Back then it wasn't like that. Back then you were recruited. Back then you were recruited to be any type of gang or anything, because they will get you from the street and then be like, yeah, what you got that you could put, and then you get initiated. I was too busy for that shit. I got shit I had to do in my life. And they try to get me to initiate to a gang. I was like, I got too much shit going on. I can't do that shit. But we can get these little gangbangers, send them to the front lines, have them fight the war. There'll be mass casualties. That's okay. I hope they, before they died, they realized I fucked up. I should have respected a little bit more. I should have been more positive to the community, not robbing the community. Because every time you rob, it affects all of us. Because guess what? They got to raise those prices. So, yeah. Let's see. We can end off with this one. We're going to watch that Melody King, though. Because she did put up a video. And that was going to be the last video of the night. And then I'm going to show a little bit of Beirut skyline as Israel ramps up Operation in Lebanon. So, Train of Truth is here. You know what? Let me resize this. Hear the train. So loud. All right, let's push this over here. Okay, I needed the sound shake came on. Your browser has lost connection to the screen share audio. Try sharing your screen again. Restart your browser if this continues to be a problem. You know, it's been a problem for months and months and months and months now, and to the point that you guys have pretty much given me a free month of StreamYard because of this problem, and it continues to fucking happen. They're gonna end up giving me another free month. They keep fucking with my audio, man. And I saw the window popped up. I didn't even have anything on, but I'm gonna take a picture of this. Because when you take a picture, it lasts you longer. Nah, it's for evidence. Put it for evidence, that's all. And then we're gonna take a picture of that. It's for evidence because I got a free month of StreamYard at the advanced level. Like, because there's the different tiers. So I'm at the high grade level, and they're still having fucking audio problems and audio shit. And then I gotta be like starting shit all over again. Like, that's an interruption to my show, and I think they should pay for that. What the fuck? All right, let's watch Melody King.
Is making some waves in the UFO community, and it's supposed to be from the initial attack on Iran. Anything that can eat missiles for dinner and keep flexing in the sky has my full attention. Obviously, it's all happening really fast and nothing's confirmed, so take this with a massive helping of salt. Either way, if it's a legit UAP or some kind of secret US tech, the implications are pretty huge. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot more of these in the next few weeks.
So with all this going on with this war, I thought I would bring up some signs and wonders that are being seen, specifically
Go get me a
orbs
snack.
that are being seen over Tehran as well as over Israel, especially in Tel Aviv. Now, some of them are just coming out as orbs. People are like, are these drones? Are these not? Which was my initial question when I first started seeing orbs. And I have just seen probably over 1,000 videos now of people documenting these orbs. But what's crazy to me is that the orbs that I have seen that have been around my house, the first time I saw them come out was during New Year's Eve. Okay. So it was around midnight on New Year's Eve. Well, I guess it's New Year's Day. And they were like traveling through the fireworks. And in fact, footage from New Year's Eve celebrations on TV around the world, you can see orbs passing through. These are not drones, guys. They look completely different than drones, right? And so when you see these things, I don't know if they're drawn to the light, if they're trying to disguise themselves within it. But I thought I would share some of this footage that I've seen. Now, this isn't going to be everything that I found, but I think it's very interesting. Now, this next one is not an orb, but take a look at what it is.
God is leaving signs or possibly even warnings in the skies of Israel as rockets are flying over. Tell me if you catch it.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. Oh my God, that's a monster. Yo, that thing's like right here.
One more time, slow down just in case you missed it. So the rocket comes over Israel, and as it continues, you're going to start to see a perfectly formed cross in the middle of the sky. It's not attached to anything. It's not from chemtrails. It's not something the rocket formed. It's just there in the middle of the night. Here's a better picture of it. So is it a coincidence? Is it a sign, possibly a warning? Jesus says in Luke 21, in the last days, there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and distress of nations. We're watching nations rage. War headlines are stacking up. And as rockets are flying, a perfect image of the cross. Listen, judgment is real, but so is mercy. So the question isn't, what does this mean for the world? The question is, what does this mean for you?
So I went ahead and blew up a screenshot of this, but you can see a perfectly formed cross in the sky as this thing is going ahead. I had to rewatch it. At first, I didn't see it. If you're like me, well, I know it's probably kind of small on your screen, but initially I was seeing this. I was like, what? And there it is, guys. I mean, if this is not a perfect sign, now some people will try to dismiss these things, but I've seen too much. I've seen too many of these
Pretty
signs and
cool.
wonders. And this is why I say, even with war going on, possibly World War III is going to come about. The economic crash that is most likely coming
Could it be
around the world,
CGI?
more
I don't know.
nations getting involved into this war, which could, again, make World
Is it
War III
CGI? Did they run
inevitable.
it
I
through
think it
Gronk?
is. A lot of experts are saying that it is inevitable because of, I've laid that out before. But it's just amazing that God will continue to give us these signs. And we are commanded by Jesus Christ himself. One of the last things we're commanded to do is look for the signs in the of his return in the sun, moon, and stars, meaning the skies. We should be looking up and looking for these things. And every day I continue to have my orbs come out. I have not gotten a chance to do the footage and show you guys those orbs, but I just wanted to show you this because regardless of what you're seeing in the news, regardless of what you're hearing, regardless of what you're going through
I have a
personally,
video on YouTube. You can
understand
watch.
that this was always coming to an appointed end. This was always
I'm
supposed
gonna
to
have
get
to
to this
make
place.
myself
Now,
smaller
this
here.
also comes on the heels of military brass telling the troops that this is ushering in Armageddon and to make Jesus Christ return, which we know you cannot make Jesus Christ return. He doesn't even, the Bible says that only the Father knows, that Jesus
Oh,
himself doesn't know. The Holy Spirit doesn't know.
Jesus
Only the
probably
Father
already
knows
here
when he's going
watching.
to return. So you can't manufacture something, but understand God in his wisdom, he knows how the earthly rulers think. He knows how these governments think. He knows what was going to happen, how they would think that they could usher him in a certain specific time. So it's all part of the plan. So even though they think that they're doing it, no, these signs and wonders have been here, especially escalating the last couple of months, and we're seeing it more and more. So I just don't want there to be any confusion, because on the Iranian side, they're actually seeing this as a holy war to bring in their Messiah as well. All right. Israel seeing this as a way to bring in their Messiah, which we know, whether it's the Messiah of Muslims or it's the Jewish Messiah, neither one of those are Jesus Christ. Neither one are Jesus Christ, but they both sides are seeing this as a holy war. And we're even having people in the US, part of our military commanders, saying the same thing. And in fact, I think even Pete Hegseth in the past has alluded to this, as well as being some type of holy war. They're bringing and building the third temple. All right. These are all of these things that we have to be looking for. But if you aren't paying attention, of course, it's not going to be on mainstream media. Of course not. Of course not. I think this is half the reason why we even have chemtrails, so that we don't see and all these clouds and all these things, they are seeding the clouds in order for us to not see these signs and wonders. But if you have your eyes open, God will reveal all, regardless of what anyone tries to do, any government tries to do to shut it down. Now, this next video, I don't know if I'll play the whole thing, but these are, I don't know if I think they're basketball players that are in Israel, American basketball players that are in Israel. They play for Israel. And they were watching all this, the bombs taking off and the missiles and all that going on. And then they noticed these things in the sky and they were wondering, these are drones, but it alarmed them more than even the missiles and rockets coming down and raining down on them. But take a look.
Okay, update y'all. There's no siren going on right now, and yet there's these things in the sky blowing up. Pretty sure they're either missiles or drones. Either way, we've seen them blow up in the sky, multiple of them, very, very close to us, actually. So I was just saying that it was very quiet, and it's not quiet.
Yeah, because y'all talking at the same time.
We're not really sure what it is, but I'll put the video here and you guys can see. Jesus Christ! Look! Over there! Oh my God! Not there now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not a star. Anybody would like to tell me what that is? Please let me know. Please let me know.
But usually it's like a couple of them.
No, that's definitely a.
And I want to say, that is initially you're going to think that they're drones. And some of you probably really think that those are drones, but they're not. They don't look anything like drones. They're not lit like drones. And the drones that will be flying over right now, they okay, these drones are being intercepted. They're about $20,000 to $50,000 that come from Iran. They're being intercepted by missiles that cost about $2 million. So they will not just leave these drones to just float around the sky. And these are not drones from Israel as well. Again, they look nothing like it. But if you see and you zoom in on these things, you can see clearly they're like balls of light. And in fact, if you zoom in, if you have a good enough camera, you can see that they look like Ezekiel wheels. And you can see them making almost like a cross sign in it. But I think it's just the wheels of light just kind of spinning all around, and it ends up making a cross. I've shown you how they've done that, the same thing for me. Now, I also have footage, I'm not going to show it in this one, where you actually have military helicopters chasing down drones here in the US, and they try to fire on them and chasing them down. And even though they fire on them, it looks like they disappear for a second and then they just pop right back up. And either it's one whole unit or it dissipates into multiple ones, like it starts to appear in other places. I kid you not, guys. You can look up the footage yourself.
Wait.
Yo, that's so to them, bro.
Wait. Look. Those are drones. I think those are drones. I think those are drones, bro. I think those are freaking drones, bro. Bro, I think those are drones.
Just boom in the air. No, boom. They're going up.
Yeah, no, these are not.
There's smoke all there now where that one just.
Yeah, no, these are the drones. These are drones.
Yo,
they were sending drones. They were sending drones, and I'm literally finna what? Oh my goodness! Oh my God! Wait, did y'all? I think my camera just got that. Hold on. I gotta go back and look.
Yeah.
You saw it? Yes, I think I did. Oh my God! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Guys,
what the fuck? Oh my God!
No.
Oh my God! Stop!
Destiny, that's right near us, bro. What the fuck?
Oh my God!
Oh,
Holy sh!
this is bad news.
And as you can see, this isn't a missile. This isn't a strike. You don't see anything blow up after that. You see light, but there's nothing. They don't have sirens going on. If there was something in the air, the sirens have to come on for that, especially if these were all these drones and things in the sky and you saw it going straight down, then it flashed really bright. Sometimes they're light. They turn them, the lights disappear. Then all of a sudden it appears again. If you watch this back, okay, if you have eyes to see, right? If the veil has been removed from your eyes, you will see what this is, especially with all the other evidence that I've given of this. Just go on TikTok. You'll see hundreds of videos of people filming the same thing from all around the world.
It's the Foo Fighters.
Why is there no siren right now?
Why the hell?
Yo, what the fuck?
Foo Fighters.
So the siren just went off real late. So we're gonna go into the bunker now, and this is like not funny at all, but I'm really scared. So, oh shit! Why was this siren not going?
Oh my! It was Israel shooting, so it's not.
That was not Israel shooting. These things are just floating around. Yeah, one came down really fast. Sometimes they'll go up really fast, but most of the times they're just sitting and they'll slowly move. They move. It depends on which one it is. Some are moving fast, some are going up, some go down. Some, for me, I have one in particular. He is there every single night in the same position. And he moves between two houses and just stays out there with me all night. If I say that I'm going to come back out in a little bit, I just got to go in and do something, stays right there. If I say I'm done for the night, I'm going to bed, and then I decide to come back out, guess what? He's gone. Now, if I say, and I literally will go outside and ask these things to come back, I'll tell them, come back, wait a few minutes, they all start coming back again. Guys, I've had multiple people that have reported to me when I've told them to go outside and try this, it actually happens.
I can do that. Wow, it's little though.
Multiple people. I've probably had at least a couple of dozen people, maybe even more now, if I actually go through the comments. But I would say at least 100 people that have told me they went outside, they asked the orbs to come, they told them to come.
They should make the sky rain.
They appear. So
an orb sphere has been spotted over Iran this evening. What do you think this is?
Now, along with that, we are still seeing in like un the amount of seismic activity that is going on around the world, the volcanoes erupting, all of that is still happening. And it is the birth pains of the earth, literally the birth pains of the earth taking place right now. But of course, this isn't making mainstream. And I want to do a better job of not just reporting on what's happening, well, possibly World War III. I think it is going to turn into that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I want to also update you guys and keep an eye out on these other things because these are probably even more important because again, we are commanded to look for these things and to understand that it says the earth will have birth pains to usher in the return of Jesus Christ. And if you tie all of this together, digital ID, the mark of the beast system, AI, I mean, the list goes on and on. The one world government is coming together. I don't know how anyone could not deny it now that Jesus Christ is imminently returning and we are in the very last days.
This is March 6, 2026, and clearly there is a lot that's going on in the world in terms of wars, AI, robotics, deception, and so on. But sadly, two important things that people are sleeping on is what's happening around the world with seismic and volcanic activity. This is one very reliable source on YouTube giving us just straight facts. He does a great job of researching. He is the professional in this field. So we just had a 6.3 earthquake in the Solomon Islands. 2 days ago, we had a 6.5 earthquake along the Aleutian Trench. Mount St. Helens is showing more activity. Even Yellowstone is having increased seismic activity. Something else worth noting and looking into is Yellowstone has the largest acidic geyser in the world, and it's been dormant for like 5 years, and then all of a sudden in the past couple of weeks it's erupted dozens of times. California's had an increase of 76 earthquakes within a short period of time, which is unprecedented, and then other odd earthquakes happening around the country. Just yesterday, Louisiana had a 4.9 earthquake that has never happened before. Another reputable source, the geophysicist, Stefan Burns. Keep in mind that none of these guys are Christian. They're just giving us straight facts from a scientific perspective of what's happening in the world. And it's not looking good, including massive oarfish that just washed up on shore in Mexico. These fish are known as doomsday fish, and it's very rare for us to see them because they live in the deepest parts of the ocean. More than 200 years of research has shown us that every time preceding a major earthquake, these fish wash up on shore. So why am I telling you all this? Am I just trying to paralyze you with fear? No, my friend. I'm trying to tell you that there is something much, much bigger going on here when we connect all of the dots of what's happening in our world. Greed, lawlessness, wars and rumors of wars, the image of the beast that's being formed, AI, robotics, and quantum computing, digital ID, digital currency, and digital healthcare, the shifting of powers, governments, and world leaders, all in allegiance under one man, the Board of Peace, the increase in selfishness, pride, lust, and perversion, violence in the streets across all countries, the unraveling of Hollywood and entertainment, the increase in deception from those who call good evil and evil good, those who have fallen more in love with the creation more than the creator, and the lack of accountability from people's own sin. I'm trying to tell you that everything happening in this world is biblical and it's prophetic. For every person who acknowledges their own sin and need of salvation, who acknowledges that Yeshua, Jesus Christ, is Lord, for every person who humbles themselves and bends the knee will receive the free gift of salvation. There's a day of justice and judgment that's coming soon by the righteous judge. And on that day, when he unleashes his wrath, his justice on this world, every person who's in Christ will be saved.
And if you want to support the research I have going on here, I keep trying to make as many videos
make
I
that
can.
money.
A lot of times the
Yeah, make that
research takes
money,
a lot.
honey. We understand, girl. We understand. The world is hard. We gotta make money somehow. Oh Lord. Just real fucking weird times we're living in. It's like weird, surreal, like, but very weird. Okay, I think I'm gonna end the show. I want to see this last the 5 here. Let me bring this back. Do a little. Okay, let me stop size that one up. Let's bring it all the way over here. Hope everyone's having a good night or a good day wherever you're at. Let's see if we can take a live look. Let's put this over here. All right, this is Beirut. Let me see if it's playing. Let me hit play on here. And let's hit it live. So this is the Beirut skyline as Israel ramps up operation in Lebanon. So this is Beirut, Lebanon. And wow, this is a pretty bright, this is a housing complex. They're the brightest housing complex of all around. Look at the light pollution, how like it spreads. You can see all these buildings lit up. It's because of this building with the light. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a hotel or what. Who knows what this is? But all I can tell you, this shit is bright as. Look how bright, and everybody, the lights are off. And then you look at this. What's going on here? Like, you're asking for them to shoot you guys? Oh boy. Oh, Tyson just uploaded a video. We could definitely watch this one to end the show. That'll be a great way to end it. So let's go ahead and watch the 5 real quick. Let me do some housekeeping first. This just got a lot of windows, so I gotta close up here. Oh, this is another video I want us to watch. Okay, we got a couple of videos to watch. All right, come on. Let's see if I could. Okay. Just resize it. And I think this is going to be the last 3 videos of the night. So we're going to take a. Come over here. All right. So we're going to see this one. So let me go ahead and hit that play. Put the sound up on it. What is he doing with his peace sign? Oh, he has to take that picture. Oh, you gotta take that picture, you know?
Okay. I gotta go to Ideal Glass to do it.
Don't talk in the car. Don't talk in the patrol car. I got. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Get a lawyer. Don't say nothing.
Damn, he had a pretend lawyer. Look, America versus the communists. Look at this. They're going against each other. Look, they had a vigil for this idiot. And they had the pro. Look. The two Iranians.
So do you like what Trump did? Do you like what Trump did?
Absolutely.
So do you agree with the genocide in Israel and Palestine?
The only genocide in Israel was the one that happened on October 7th.
That's you, Ayatollah! That's you, Ayatollah! That's you, Ayatollah!
They're going against each other.
You all over there, fuckers! All y'all faces!
They're going after each other. This is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Damn. What is going on? This is in New York. This is New York City.
Can you do it? Put your finger over your mouth like this.
What the hell is that? Put your finger in your mouth like that.
USA, 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 USA.
Wow. What is going on here?
Somebody's a goat fucker! Somebody likes to fuck goats! There's something to get out of NYC! They're
What's going on here? What is happening here? I gotta play. They play music there, but what is that? What is going on here? Oh my god, I don't know.
USA! USA!
Was that Jake Lang? He's an anti-Semite. He's an anti-Semite. Jake Lang, the anti-Semite with the Jewish mom, makes him Jewish. Yeah, Jake Lang. He should have got the dog. Yeah. No, I know. He's an anti-Semite with a Jewish mom that makes him Jewish. Make it make sense. I'm joking now, but I'm like, make it make sense.
I already like her
can't drink
already.
enough Red Bull to make it make sense. I used to do comedy years ago.
You never heard it. You never heard it.
Excuse my.
Sounds like it's very serious.
Yeah. I don't know.
I I reject his allyship because he's anti. Your enemy's enemy is not your friend. Your enemy's enemy is still your enemy.
And people forget, a lot of he kind of lost his marbles. Like he.
Yo, we had to watch that. That was listen. That was a good one. Hold on, let me bring it back to me here. We're living in interesting times. Very interesting times. Is it the last days? I know this is interesting times, and you perceive it however you want your eyes to perceive it. All I have to say is, seeing is believing. Seeing is always believing. So it's I believe early morning in Beirut. You can hear the birds are starting to chirp over there. I can see what time it is over there because from what I'm looking at, it's about what 5:23 in the morning. Let me see. I hope I'm right because just the lighting. That's how I kind of figured that out. Let me see. What time is Beirut, Lebanon? Yep, I was right. 5:23. 5:23 in the morning. Damn, Rick, that was good. I go listen because I'm looking at the big screen. I could tell the colors here and like the lighter, like the blues. Like you could tell that the sun is coming back up. You hear the birds chirping. I used to wake up at this time, 5 in the morning, like 5:15 in the morning, and see it like this. So that's how I know. It's like, nah, that's like 5:23. Oh goodness. That's why it's important to know just by the shading of the colors and by the sun to figure out an estimate time of day. You have a natural clock and that's the sun. So that's Beirut there. All right, let's bring it back to me here. Let's go ahead and resize this one. And we're going to watch this one next. 5. Here we go.
Democrats in the liberal media are already plotting their revenge on outgoing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem after President Trump announced Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin will replace her at the end of the month.
Don't think you get to just walk away. I guarantee you, you will still be held accountable.
Funniest thing would be if they deport her to El Salvador. I just want to say with absolute certainty, she is a domestic terrorist who deserves to go to Gitmo.
I mean, there have been dozens of injuries and deaths under her leadership of ICE.
Dark heart of this administration is not Noam, it's Stephen Miller, and he needs to be next. She's just a scapegoat in all this.
Oh, Kristi, it looks like cricket had the last laugh after all.
But while Democrats are busy settling scores, they are missing what really matters, our security. That's because in the middle of the environment in Iran, Democrats are still holding up funding for DHS. And incredibly, some Democrats are even gloating about the standoff.
ICE has enough money in the big, bad, stinking, lousy, ugly bill that was passed. They're well funded. So we don't need to pass this bill.
Don't give them any money. Don't confirm a DHS.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
Continue to drag them in front of you and put the guardrails around.
What Democrats want is, regardless of who's at the top, that ICE and DHS actually not murder American citizens.
Shannon, it is very unclear to me what Democrats want, but going back to the early days when Schumer was presenting his list of demands, one of them was judicial warrants, which was a non-starter for Republicans. You get that to enter a home, but to have that for every immigration operation, it would just put handcuffs on ICE.
Yeah, it would change the scale of what they could do. I mean, they are not part of that, branch of government. They are within the executive branch. You're going to get an administrative warrant. You don't need a judicial warrant, will be their argument. But how many Democrats have told me in Washington, they got to get rid of Kristi Noem? Then maybe we could talk. She's gone now and they say, oh no, the rot is totally deep. DHS is terrible. While also saying ICE is already funded. So they know that. They're acknowledging ICE is already funding. So why are you sticking it to the TSA folks who missed a ton of paychecks last fall? And they got to remember, if they want to go after Kristi Noem and they're warning her when you are out of office, we're coming after you, they're setting precedents. They did that with Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. And guess what? That showed up when the Clintons decided that they were not going to comply with a congressional subpoena. You could point to, okay, look at the last administration. We put those guys in jail. So if they go after Kristi Noem, they may regret it at some point when they have members of the cabinet who do not live up to what Republicans expect of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Jessica, when you look at the heightened threat environment we are in. Clearly, we saw what happened this weekend with that shooting that left Americans dead. And then you look at what Democrats are doing. CISA, we know that Iran is known for targeting and hacking U.S. critical infrastructure. CISA, you're depriving them of funding. The Coast Guard, that's maritime search and rescue, port security, Secret Service, TSA, FEMA. These are critical.
Absolutely critical. It doesn't mean that Republicans and Democrats can't return to the table to talk about that list of demands. If you say the judicial warrants is, took completely off the table. Let's talk about the body cams. Let's talk about the masks. There was a list, I think, of 10 items on there. And I don't think that Democrats want to see anybody here at home harmed because of the heightened threat level from the war abroad. This is going to spill into the funding fight when they come and ask for another $50 billion, though. And the Democrats are going to come back and say, we fully funded the Pentagon. You got your ask. There was supposed to be a full audit. That didn't happen. They got over $1 trillion, including the reconciliation bill plus the budget funding. There's a lot of money swirling. You could also pull money from that ICE budget, which is funded until 2029, and put that towards FEMA, CISA, et cetera. I don't think Democrats fear what's going to happen to them if they set some precedent with Kristi Noem. We're already there. The Clintons testified. It's the Clinton rule now. I think that they'll be on the side of, we didn't give $220 million contracts to our friends for vanity shots. We didn't, the $143 million contract that went to a company that was just incorporated 8 days before Kristi Noem paid them, that was brought up in the oversight hearing in the House side. We have no fear about that. She was clearly rotten, and Republicans agreed because Senator Kennedy got the go-ahead from the Trump administration to ask her about it. He checked all the boxes. He said, I'm going to go and do this. And Trump said, go with God. So, to haul us in, but she deserves to be questioned about this. We need to know where all of that money went. And it looks like Corey Lewandowski was making money that he should not have been making too, as her,
Jesse,
private cabin special assistant.
I know you want to focus on Kristi Noem, but I think
that was the question.
I think the country would love to know, Jesse, why only Senator Fetterman and 4 House Democrats would vote to fund DHS at this time.
The Democrats say they want to be taken seriously. They say they care about the safety of the country. They say they care about protecting Americans. They say Trump doesn't, and they're the party that's going to keep you safe. And then they don't fund the homeland during war. It's like Democrats when they say, no, this is for protecting illegals. This is because they care about illegals. They don't want all these illegals, all these rapists and molesters and traffickers. They want to protect them so they stay. It's like the ad that we run. Democrats don't care about you. This is just another great example of that. This country is under threat. Sleeper cells, lone wolves, reprisals. You name all these things that could happen, and they don't protect us? What are they waiting for? They're waiting for an American to die? What are we doing here? This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Donald Trump's DHS reduced border crossings to an all-time low. They reduced the murder rate to a level we haven't seen since the 18th century. 17th, what is it? 20th, 19th? What is 1900? What would you call that? Is that in the 20th century or the 19th?
20th century.
Either way,
125 years.
That's better. 26.
Yeah.
Either way, the Democrats didn't do it. The Democrats released people from prison. The Democrats caught and released people on the terror watch list and then brought them into the country. They were letting people sex traffic children into the country. And now they're like shutting down the people that protect us during a war. That's crazy.
You have won me over. I'm a Republican now.
No, you just need to be a Fetterman Democrat.
That's like a Republican.
Can we get like
That's a smart person.
Not exactly.
Can we get a round of champagne with that announcement? Look, and then you have the golden boy in Texas, Tallarico, who uses the term undocumented Americans to just underscore Jesse's point.
Yeah, you know what? First of all, the reason why Noem's is not employed anymore is because of her off the field issues. All right, that's number one. It wasn't because of the job.
Well,
the border. I didn't interrupt you. So
I'm just adding.
The border was a mess. She locked it up. She's a lot better than the last one, Mayorkas, by far. But here's the difference between the two groups. She wasn't doing what needed to be doing. The ridiculous spending that she did, she got fired. What did the other group do? Nothing. They double down. They're fine with their mistakes. They act like they didn't happen. We know why she was let go. She was let go. And as far as revenge on Trump, let me just help you guys. Maybe you guys need to get some sleep or go outside and play on that green, crunchy stuff called grass. You can't get revenge on the president. He's already won. He's not running for anything again. He's going to lay the smack down on the rest of it and get this country where it needs to go. And there's nothing you can do about it. So you look cute doing your dumb videos that a 13-year-old would do. And then when they presented it to you as a parent, you'd be like, don't do that. You're going to look silly. You know, you put pictures off the wall and you're doing all the. Who is the cool police for the Democratic Party? Who is telling him to make these videos? Because they're hard to stomach.
Cool. Well,
Everything from
Fetterman
their
needs more
barbecues with no coals burning to having a beer with a husband who never takes his jacket off when he comes home. That's a huge
He has
sign.
common sense.
All their little things they do. Go back and look. Hey, honey, would you like to have a beer? He wouldn't even take his jacket off. So as fake as they are, and Pelosi's questioning people, hey, Pelosi, you got the extra cash. Why don't you fund TSA while it's all going down?
There you go. Paul Pelosi stock accounts. Yeah, I can fund it all. All right.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
For all the money that they have. Cricket. All right, the last video of the night. Here we go. Tyson De La Cruz.
At City Hall, the mayor's office has grown far larger and become far costlier than any other mayor's office in this city's history.
America, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott just got caught running one of the most brazen corruption schemes that I've personally ever seen. His budget went from $5.2 million to $24.7 million in just a decade, while the city he's supposed to be fixing is still bleeding population and businesses. When the Inspector General started digging into where all the money went, she found that the mayor's office was spending $52,000 at sporting events games in his luxury suite buying Tito's vodka with taxpayer dollars. And Mayor Brandon Scott's response? Sue the Inspector General to stop her from investigating.
Their investigation finding nearly 2,000 purchases.
You're not supposed to order liquor with your taxpayer money.
$167,000 spent without proper approval.
That's not a mistake. That is a system designed to hide corruption.
We are doing all of this together because Baltimoreans believe that we are the greatest comeback story in the country.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Greatest comeback story. Let me show you what Baltimore is actually coming back from and who's profiting while the city absolutely crumbles like a soft chocolate chip cookie. Let me break down exactly how Brandon Scott turned the mayor's office into a money printing machine for his friends and his cronies.
10 years ago, the mayor's office operated with 39 employees and a budget of $5.2 million. Today, however, there are 118 staffers working in the office whose budget has ballooned to $24.7 million.
That is 79 additional staff members and nearly quintupled the budget.
Surprised me, it really did. Today, former Mayor Jack Young, who ran the city 6 years ago with 30 fewer staff members, was struggling to understand the historic size of the current office.
30 extra workers, man. I would love to have them. I would love to have had them, but what was I going to have them doing? What was their job responsibility to be? I didn't need that building staff. I didn't need a special advisor.
The guy who actually ran Baltimore is looking at Scott's operation like, what the hell are all these people doing? Because here's the thing. Baltimore's population is not growing. Businesses are leaving. Crime is still an absolute disaster. So what are these 118 people doing all day?
Out of the mayor's $24 million operating budget, $14 million of that goes to pay for salaries alone.
That's more than half the entire budget going to pay people whose jobs the former mayor says don't even need to exist. And when the city council questioned this growth 2 years ago, the city manager had a great excuse. Check this out.
We want to recruit talented people to manage large-scale infrastructure projects for the city of Baltimore. We're going to have to pay them over $100,000.
Oh, sure. Absolutely sure, guys. Talented people managing large-scale infrastructure. This is what they said. You know what Baltimore's infrastructure looks like? Boarded up row houses. and piles of illegally dumped trash.
No.
But yeah, let's hire another 13 people at 6 figures to manage it. Now, let me show you where some of the money actually went, because the Inspector General just dropped a report that's absolutely wild.
Finding 468 food-related transactions totaling $230,000. Of that, $52,000 spent on food and beverages during Orioles and Ravens games inside the mayoral suite.
$230,000 on food.
Business expenses.
Yes.
$26,000 for one dinner. No. This could be explained. We had the FISA client.
Right. And $52,000 of that was at sports games, in the mayor's suite, hosting donors, just feeding whoever Scott wants to impress in his luxury box.
In another instance, an administrator reportedly demanding a, quote, fresh fruit tray available to everyone in the mayor's suite daily.
Fresh fruit trays, you guys. Fresh fruit trays daily in the mayor's suite at the stadium. Eating grapes off the grapevine while Baltimore residents are dodging vacant buildings and trash piles up on their way to work. But sure, fresh fruit. And guys, it's not just fresh fruit. They're buying alcohol at these games, obviously.
The report also flagging purchases investigators say are flat out prohibited, citing at least one transaction for Tito's vodka during a Ravens game.
Now, my friends, I am not an expert here, but I'm pretty sure buying vodka with government credit cards is illegal. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I believe it is illegal. Actually, I know that it's illegal, so you don't even need to answer that. But the Inspector General says it's worse than that. Check this out.
One person can't be responsible for tens of thousands of transactions because they're 8 months behind already. We need to have more compliance and oversight in order to protect the taxpayers' money.
There's one city auditor watching over hundreds of cardholders making thousands of transactions, and they are 8 months behind. So basically, Brandon Scott and his crew can buy whatever they want. And by the time anybody actually checks on it, it's too late to do anything about it. Now, here's where it goes from corruption to cover up, because the Inspector General who exposed all of this is now being sued by the city to stop her investigation.
The Baltimore Inspector General's office is now preparing to take the city to court after it received heavily redacted records for the first time.
So Inspector Isabel Cummings, who's doing the job exposing corruption, suddenly starts getting heavily redacted documents, some pages completely blacked out. And when she issued a subpoena to get the unredacted versions, the city, they ignored it.
Almost 100 cases would have been impacted by this. And we calculated, over 100 cases and over $40 million by us not being able to do our job.
They didn't respond. They didn't fight the subpoena. They just ignored it, because that's what corrupt administrations do. They stonewall you until you give up. But here's the really sick part of all this. Watch how the mayor's office is justifying this.
We do not want her good work to stop, but we cannot allow anybody that's working in the city of Baltimore, in city government, to work outside of compliance with state law.
We don't want her work to stop, but every single time you hear a business partner, a salesperson, a spouse, an ex-spouse, a politician say, but everything before that is an absolute lie. They absolutely want her work to stop. That's why they're cutting her off from access from these particular documents. And the excuse that they're using, the Maryland Public Information Act. They're claiming that because the state law protects certain records, the Inspector General, whose entire job is oversight, can't access them.
For 20 some years, this office has had direct access to records. We have. And I called prior Inspector Generals. We have had direct access to records. We don't have that anymore.
20 years of direct access gone right after she starts exposing $52,000 in luxury suite spending and $167,000 in unapproved purchases. What a coincidence here. Now, let me break down the pattern here, because this is exactly what every Democrat-run city does when they get caught. Explode the budget by hiring cronies and friends. Spend taxpayer money on luxury perks, particularly for yourself. When a watchdog group or watchdog investigates, block their access to all the documents, sue or fire the investigator if they don't stop, and claim you're following the law while you actually obstruct justice. We are seeing this pattern in Chicago with Brandon Mohawk Johnson. We see it in California with Gavin Newsom. We see it in Seattle. We see it in Minnesota with the daycare fraud and Timmy Tampon Walls. And we're seeing it now in Baltimore with Brandon Scott.
It is very clear that I can subpoena any records. They have decided not to respond and they have failed. They didn't move to quash. They did nothing.
100 cases, $40 million in potential fraud. She can't particularly investigate. And if the city gets away with this, it's not protecting privacy. It is protecting corruption. And here's what really pisses me off about the entire situation. While Scott is fighting to hide the spending, Baltimore residents are living in absolute war zones.
But since 2019, when Baltimore's murder rate hit an all-time high and ranked among the worst in the nation, something has changed. The number of vacant buildings is down 25%. The population actually grew in 2024. And murders have hit a nearly 50-year low.
It's a 15-year, $3 billion strategy of how we're going to deal with vacancy in Baltimore.
He's talking about change people will see while his office is buying vodka at football games and demanding fresh fruit daily in luxury suites. Meanwhile, Baltimore population is declining, businesses are fleeing, and the murder rate is still astronomical. America, Brandon Scott's priorities are crystal clear. He exploded his office budget to $24.7 million while Baltimore continues to collapse. He spent $52,000 on food and drinks at a luxury stadium suite. And when the inspector general exposes $167,000 of unapproved spending, he blocked her access to documents and is now fighting her in court. Former Mayor Jack Young ran the city with 30 fewer employees and looked at Scott's operation like it was absolutely insane, because it is insane. You don't need 118 staffers and $14 million in salaries to manage a city that is losing populations. The receipts don't lie, but corrupt mayors do. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Great upload. Stop spending people's money. It's not your money. Taxpayer money. It belongs to all the people, not just for yourself and to drink your little vodka, watching games and all this bullshit. Like, you know what? Get rid of the suite. We can fix that. We can fix that problem. Get rid of the suite. Get rid of all the suites of all the stadiums. And if they want to conduct business and so forth, there's City Hall. There you go. Solve that problem so fast. All right, guys, I'm off to bed. I am tired. I had a long day today and looking forward to tonight's sleep. So I wish everyone a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm not sure about the weekend. If the war gets a little bit more crazier or something, maybe I'll come on for a bit. We'll see. But if not, have a great weekend and enjoy your lives. And always pay attention. Always look side to side and look behind, because you don't know who's who these days, and you want to stay safe. But live life to the fullest. All right, guys. Good night.